So it's really important that individuals have experience with the communities they try to serve here. So how has your experience volunteering in various communities that may deserve or require scholarships made you ready for this role?
Senator Wondren.
So I'd say I've worked a decent amount with Disability Caucus, especially with the former chair at this point, former Pro Tem Cerisi. I've done a lot with the homeless community back home in my hometown, Washington, not anywhere near here. So I'd really like to also see about establishing like a homeless student scholarship of some sort. I know with scholarship committee, it's always very weird because the disability scholarship is specifically like for students who have served the disability student community at UCF, which is great, but like the intent behind it was basically to try to give it to disabled students who have worked with their communities. And that's not really what it's turned into. So trying to make sure that that's what that sort of thing is also important.
Senator Patel.
So as part of my major, I'm pre-med, and to go into medical school, you need to like do a lot of volunteering work. And basically, like I've done most of my volunteering work in like areas where they nourish places of poverty, because like people can afford healthcare. They obviously go to the hospitals and clinics and stuff. But like I volunteered at places where it's like people can't afford healthcare, and it's basically all their treatment is done based on volunteers for free. So I've gotten like more exposure to people who like just can't even afford like a loaf of bread. So I guess it's really sad to see, but I think that's exposed me to like the hardships people face. So like when in scholarship committee, I would know like what groups really need more money, like more, and like who should be advocated for. Cause like I've seen like, it's not just on paper, like, oh, these groups are experiencing this. Like I've seen firsthand what people are experiencing. So like I'd be more likely to make like well-informed decisions.
Chair Holmes.
So first I'll start with, my high school club experience. It was a little difficult, finding scholarships for some of the students, mostly because of criteria that they couldn't meet. A lot of scholarships that I've come across like give to like the higher 10%, and we all are not in that 10%. So I definitely would want to focus on, making, I know it's accessible and everything, but I want to continue to make it more accessible. And another thing that I have encountered is during my internship with a state representative, I've actually had students call the office talking about how they can't really afford their education and they have to commute like an hour or two from their home to UCF, and they just can't afford the commute, and they can't even help their mom pay their rent. So I definitely want to make sure that we're listening to, not just the student at large, but using our prior experiences from, our volunteer experiences and our own experiences as students to create, these accessible scholarships and make sure that, our students who face inequities are able to have access to that scholarship money to not only support themselves, but their education as well.
Chair Borges.
Yeah, so similar to kind of the rest of them. In high school, I did a lot of volunteers, especially with homeless people and even homeless students that went to my school. My school was very low income, definitely working at food pantries, homeless shelters, stuff like that. And then now being Disability Caucus Vice Chair, I've gotten a lot of more interactions with Disability Coalition and other disability-related RSOs, which is really cool. And then being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, helping out and volunteering at different events. Like I just volunteered for Lavender Night, which is like a huge drag show. And it was a great time, and I just love helping out every community that I'm in and that I'm not in. I just love everyone.
Chair Taché.
Okay, I wrote a long list. I don't exactly remember the question, but I remember the premise, so I hope I answered well. Stop me if I'm not, Evan. So yeah, talking about different groups I've worked with. I'm going to speed run this because it's a lot. So first of all, as you all know, my family runs a camp for kids with cancer. That camp was founded and by a hospital that does free treatment in Miami. So it's a lot of kids, mainly Cuban and Black kids in Miami who can't afford treatment, including some kids from the Caribbean who come to America just to get treatment at this hospital. So in working with those kids up to the age of 17, mentoring them as they're on their way to college, that's, a lot that's been close to home to me. I wrote more stuff down, but my phone locked. Obviously, I'm the Disability Caucus chair outside of Senate. I am the queer socialist facilitator or co-facilitator for the Young Democratic Socialist of America. So I do a lot of queer activism. When I used to live in South Florida, I did a lot of, or not a lot, but I dabbled in activism with Dream Defenders, which did a lot of work regarding immigration status with illegal immigrants, a lot of prison reform and helping prisoners or formerly incarcerated people get their lives back on track by going to college. That's something I'm a big believer in for the scholarship committee. Additionally, I am a religious minority, so I understand all of the things going on there regarding scholarships. And then the last thing is, I don't know if we do scholarships based off of like mental health status or whatever, but in high school, I did a lot of advocacy surrounding mental health. And the Florida Initiative for Suicide Prevention actually like gave me an award for it. So that was cool. I think that's everything I could come up with, but yeah.
Vice Chair Robbins.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people mentioned high school experience. My high school was in the middle of nowhere. We had a huge migrant children population at our school. It was almost 60% actually. And so with that, there was lots of just like really impoverished families and hard circumstances, as many people have mentioned. So lots of heart for the homeless. And going off of that, there is H4H. Aside from this election, please join Hearts for the Homeless. We do, food pantry visits. We give out free clothes, free health screenings. People really need these things to live. And so I would say that's where I've really gotten to work closely with those types of communities. And also I want to bring up minority religious communities as well. I have my own faith and my own beliefs, but I love getting to know and pouring into and listening to people of other faiths and religions and beliefs, and people with no religious beliefs as well. And so I think just someone that can represent them as well is also really important.
Senator Domino.
So as I had mentioned a couple of months ago, I had the pleasure of creating a scholarship. But as far as my volunteer experience goes, I started out volunteering at the local Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida, and I also did some volunteering at the Second Harvest Food Bank as well. But in general, a lot of individuals that I've encountered, they want to go to school, they want to pursue higher education, they want to make better lives for themselves. But, that financial aspect is a big hindrance, especially for those, low income families, or sometimes even, a single parent household as well, where the focus is putting food on the table and bringing in money and helping their families. So by experiencing that and hearing the voices of others and helping them find scholarships that they can apply for, that they qualify for, that won't necessarily make them feel like they're negating their home responsibilities by, being the breadwinner and not wanting to leave home to help their families, but to also have that conflicting interest in pursuing their higher education, has also been a great passion of mine as well.
Senator Hurrell.
I have a question for you, and then I also have a question for the nominees. Is that okay?
Yeah.
What does the scholarship committee is it kind of like the ANSF thing, or is it over a block period, time duration? Because this is all new to me. I have no idea.
In terms of time duration, I'm going to pass that one to Brody. I'm not going to lie. I thought you were asking more of the scope of it, and it's underneath.
So this committee sits for the year for the president's administration, and I think they have a certain amount of money for this for the period of time they can allocate to various scholarships, and then the new committee will start the next year. For those of you that as you said, spend the night reading statutes, let me know if I'm wrong.
Chair Borges.
Could I just add a little bit more?
You may.
So when making the scholarships, we usually separate it, fall scholarships, spring scholarships. We usually separate the money to have a certain amount, certain pot for the fall, make the scholarships into 30 of this scholarship worth $100 each. And then you keep going to run out of money pretty much. And we do that for fall and do that for spring. We have a round of people apply, and then people are selected. And,
Senator Marlowe, is it a question?
Just to add on a little bit,
I'll allow it.
there's 13 meetings in total, if that gives more context, according to last year.
Okay, so can I ask my other question?
You
Okay.
may.
So I mean, most of the people on this nomination list seem to be extremely busy all the time. I just see you guys doing everything in Senate. Love it, by the way. But how will you allocate your time to make sure that this is something that takes priority, because scholarships are so important for students?
Chair Patel.
Personally, everything I do, I always like prioritize it like time wise. So it's like if I'm doing CRT and APIA, I give that like my top priority. If I'm gonna do scholarship committee, same thing goes with that. Like in my major, I'm gonna be always busy, but like it's like if you know, have you ever heard like if he wanted to, he would. So it's like that's how I prioritize my time. Like if I have 10 things to do and I have an hour, like it'll take me an hour. But if I have 40 things to do and only an hour, I'll do it in an hour. It's like the adrenaline gives me efficiency, so like I handle everything like at the end of the day.
Chair Holmes.
So my involvement last year was crazy. Y'all already know. I was doing a lot, but this year I wouldn't say I'm not doing a lot, just school. I work, but not many hours like of the week. So my availability has opened up tremendously. And that's the main reason why I nominated myself, because not only do I want to try something new, but I just want to fill up my schedule a little bit more. Because I feel a little bored at home, but that's another conversation. But yeah, so that's why I applied, and I definitely will be able to. I mean, y'all have already heard I have a passion for scholarships, so that's it.
Chair Borges.
Yeah, so being CRT chair does take a lot of my time, being a fiscal committee chair, but I'm an event management major. If you guys don't know, that's definitely easier than like engineering or like biomedical sciences. And I'm also taking all online classes this semester. So because I knew time management would be an issue, so I made sure my classes were online. I made sure everything lined up. So yeah, and even if I don't get elected, I'm still going to be going to these meetings because I feel like they're so important that even going last year, not being on the committee, it was still a learning moment for me, and I would still be going. So,
Chair Taché.
Okay, so first things first. My favorite type of commitment is one where I just have to show up to a meeting and say things, and then all the other people like do the like technical work behind it. So like I can commit to 24 hours a day of those. I'm very good at those. So I'm not even concerned about the time commitment. But if you are, I don't do that much in the Senate. I'm not gonna lie. I'm chair of a caucus, but I have appointed a bunch of other people to most of the projects, especially former Chair Cox. They promised to help me out a lot once I took the chair position, since they're now there as an ex officio. So most of my most demanding commitments are outside of Senate, but honestly, my classes are very easy. They're all with professors I've had before that I know don't have that strong of a workload. So it may not be the best answer to say that I'm actually not busy, but it felt like that's what you wanted to hear, and it was the truth. So that's what I'm telling you.
Vice Chair Robbins.
Yeah, so I won't give you my whole life schedule, but I will very soon be experiencing a big shift in athletics in my life. So we'll no longer have that priority. And honestly, like the other things I'm involved in on campus, I actually just met with Brody this past week. And I kind of just sat in his office. I was like, I want to do more. Like, what else can I do? I need a list. I need opportunities, ideas. This is something that came up, and it's really exciting that I even have the opportunity to speak in favor of myself on it. So I would not be going for this at all or accepted the nomination if my schedule was too full, and that's the truth.
Senator Domino.
I work full time during the day, but my classes are also online. I'm on my second to last semester of my master's program. So I normally spend the entire day doing electronic communications. So I'm always available electronically. And then obviously once I'm done from work, my afternoons and evenings are free, but I plan to put forth full commitment towards the scholarship committee. When I was doing the previous one, I was up to 2 a.m. finishing up things and making sure things were great, because that was when there was the most time to do it. And even throughout my workday, I'm jotting down notes in my phone on things I need to add to the requirements, the qualifications, allocating a budget for it, how much that's going to be. So I work all day on various tasks, so I definitely have the time for it.
Senator Wanjin?
So same sort of thing as Vice Chair Robbins was saying. If I didn't have time, I wouldn't have accepted a nomination. That's actually kind of what I was going through in my brain when I was nominated, whether I did have time or not. And I do. I know that these are historically like biweekly meetings, and when the meets are sent out and everything like that. So if they pick a time that's in the middle of my class, I will have to step down. But besides that, I should be good.
Are there any other questions? Senator Yalmanchili.
May I make a motion?
You may.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. I will preface, please be respectful to one another. I would greatly appreciate it. We are now in debate. Vice Chair Becerra.
So definitely great picks. I mean, everyone is great, but I'm going to speak in favor of Senator Wanjin, Chair Taché, and Vice Chair Robbins, because on top of all of them having time available, plenty of time available on their hands to dedicate themselves to this, Wanjin, I believe, has great fiscal experience and prior experience as well. Robbins has fiscal experience as well, and I enjoy her openness and passion and has the time. And Taché has a great variety of experiences as well under his belt and has time available. So I'll be voting in favor of these three, and I encourage you all to vote in favor as well.
Vice Chair Anderson.
I will be voting in favor of Domino for the passion that they have, Wanjin for the experience, and Robbins for the time commitment.
Pro Tem Foster.
Ooh, this is hard. I'm gonna go with Domino because he barely speaks, and I could hear the passion in his voice. He's talking about scholarship committee. So also, we're like the only 2 graduate students. So I think having a graduate student on scholarship committee would be really cool because we had a couple of graduate scholarships last year. So having that perspective would be really nice. I'm gonna go with Robbins. She's so passionate. Like, you can literally hear it in her voice when she's talking about like helping people and helping students. Also, I think she also brings a fresh new perspective. And finally, I'm gonna go with Taché. I want to go with Taché because, I feel like he also brings a really interesting perspective. He's also chaired Disability Caucus, so he can make sure things are being done right.
I'm going to go with Senator Heitskill.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's my first time speaking. So sorry if I get all of your names wrong because there's so many of you. First person I'll be voting in favor for would be Chair Patel. I know that he has a very good work ethic. I know that when he puts his mind to something, he sticks with it. And I know he'll make time commitments, as he says. If he needs to get something done, he'll do it, even if he does it 10,000 miles a minute. I also liked what you said. I'm so sorry that I'm calling you, but I don't know your name. I like that you said that you are going to make time, especially because you don't have an athletic commitment as well. And then you also worked with Hearts of the Homeless, which is a fantastic organization. And I know various people that have done the same. And then I believe your name is Domino. Last name, sorry. I also got to work with the Boys and Girls Club back when I was in high school. I thought it was a fantastic organization. There's a lot of children and boys and girls that just want to go far, but they just don't have the funds and stuff like that. And I was blessed enough to receive a scholarship myself, and it has opened various doors, including paying for my rent. So I think this is a very good committee, and I encourage you all to vote in favor.
Chair Gill.
Yeah, so I actually sat on scholarship committee last session and I really enjoyed it. But I think the 3 people that I think would be awesome for this position would be Domino at first. I think that it's important that we elect people into leadership positions that don't already have copious leadership positions already. I think that empowers our body and allows other people to grow. And I think that this would be an awesome opportunity for Senator Domino to grow within our agency and really bring in a different perspective, as he is a graduate student and as he has a different perspective than a lot of us undergrads. My second is going to go to Senator Robbins, or Vice Chair Robbins. I apologize. I think that Vice Chair Robbins embodies a lot of what a good senator should embody. I think that she would bring an awesome and neutral perspective. And I think that as she was a part of athletics and she's a rising sophomore, I think it's good to have younger people on this committee that can bring younger perspectives as well. And then lastly, I'm going to go with Senator Taché. I think Senator Taché would bring, I've seen this man and he will voice his opinion. He will say something how it is. And I think that is needed on this committee at times where we can allocate more scholarship money to this committee or this specific scholarship than this scholarship. And I think that he would bring fire to the committee and he would bring a fresh perspective with all of his involvement. And so I think those three would be awesome for this committee.
Senator Wanjin.
So I just had the bright idea to read the student body president's announcement of when that time is. I will be in class on Tuesday, August 30th at 10 a.m. So I will be withdrawing from this.
Alrighty, noted. Next, I'm going to go Senator Harrell.
So I will be, this is kind of hard for me because I like 4 candidates for this, but I'm going to put my top 3. But so I will be voting in favor of Vice Chair Robbins. I almost said Senator Robbins. Vice Chair Robbins. I have seen her work as Vice Chair of CRT along with Chair Borges, and she is a freaking boss. Like she just works at what she wants to get done, and I've seen that. The second one, I will be voting in favor of Senator Domino. I really like the perspective Pro Temp Foster put in my head that having a graduate student sit on this would be extremely important, because if you don't have a graduate student, how are you going to have that perspective? And I think that's extremely important for something like scholarships. And then my third one is going to be Taché, because he does bring a very unique perspective. He does speak his mind, and I do think he will come up with very creative scholarships. But with that being said, I don't think any nominee on this wouldn't excel. I think every single person would excel on scholarship committee, but those are the 3 I will be voting in favor of.
Senator Caldwell.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I need to speak in favor of Taché. Chair Taché has perhaps the best set of priorities in anyone I've ever met, consistently identifying the things that matter most to both them and the community, even going so far as to, as they talked about with the cancer camp, say, if this interferes with Senate, I have to pick this because this materially impacts people's lives. And that kind of drive and dedication is something we desperately need. I am also going to speak in favor of Domino. I think it's really important that we continue a cycle of leadership development, and I'd love to see them taking on that position. Finally, I'd also like to speak in favor of Vice Chair Robbins. They've been a steadfast friend throughout my short time in Senate, and I've seen a lot of commitment, many, many notes taken, and always a positive atmosphere that I think would be very, very welcome on that committee.
Chair Holmes.
It starts during my class as well, so I will be withdrawing. I apologize, but may I also speak in debate? Okay, yeah. Whatever Caldwell said, because wait, let me explain. Because what Chair Gell said, I think that people that haven't had leadership positions, they should definitely have opportunity to develop in them. So Domino, Taché, Robbins, I'm going to endorse y'all. So that's all I take.
Chair Temple.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I will be extremely honest. I am still having a very tough time choosing between the candidates, even the ones that had just withdrew the nominations. But I can definitely say that 2 definites are Chair Patel and Vice Chair Robbins, not only because they are my mentee and former vice chair respectively, just want to be completely transparent on that, but I've also seen them at work, and I am extremely impressed and blown away by the progress they have made in the short time they have been in Senate. Of course, I was home over the summer, so like seeing these two take up action on their own effectively has just really put a major impression of me that they can excel in practically anything and everything that is put forth upon them. As for the third candidate, that's going to take a minute to process.
Cherry Ray.
His initiative to get more APIA scholarships is super cool and super important. So, even though I know he's a busy guy, he's somehow always here. So I'm sure he'll be at all the meetings.
Senator Yalamanchili.
I think all of the candidates are very qualified. All of them would excel. But if I had to pick three, I would pick Chair Taché as my first choice, because he is a very humble guy. He has a great humility and excellent moral principles that he does not waver away from, and I deeply admire that, and I think that is great for the scholarship committee. And my second choice would be Vice Chair Robbins. She also works very hard, is very passionate about what she does. I think she'd be great on the scholarship committee. And my third choice would be Chair Patel. He puts his mind, he puts his 200% to whatever he does. And his work as APIA caucus chair has been excellent. He has gone above and beyond what you would expect of a typical caucus. And I think he would be great on the scholarship committee. And so those are the three I will be voting for. But I do believe that all of the candidates are exceptionally qualified.
Senator Uchoa.
Hey guys, I'll be voting in favor of Senator Patel. As a pre-med student, I can relate to him a lot. I mean, not all, I would say that most pre-med students are a little bit crazy, because the time commitment, you got to be working as hard as you can 24/7. And just seeing how this man works, I've worked with them with DAMSA, I've worked with them here in the Senate, and wow, I admire him a lot. And I'll also be voting for Vice Chair Robbins, because she seems very committed to this position, and that's something that I definitely look for in a candidate. Oh, and that's I don't know about the third one yet. Sorry.
Chair Taché.
Am I allowed to speak in favor of someone?
You may, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna speak in favor of Dwayne. I think he's a really great guy, and I know everyone's already saying that they're gonna vote for him. But yeah, I think it's of the utmost importance we have grad students on the committee, because they need scholarships more than anyone, because typically they're working full time and supporting themselves and are less reliant on their parents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, so he's probably my first choice, and then me. We'll see. But yeah, also I'm gonna start running for everything, because having everyone say nice things about me rocks.
Senator DeMarla.
I don't know about two of them, but for one of them, I'm for sure voting for Senator Domino. I've had wonderful conversations with him, and he truly tries to get to know you and what you're passionate for. And I can see that so easily applied to be in the scholarship committee. He really wants people to know what there is out there for them, and really advocate for them on so many levels. So yeah.
Senator Wangen.
So I'm not sure about my last one, but I'll be voting for Domino as well. And then I haven't heard this name at all yet, but I'll be voting for Chair Borjas, largely just because I think somebody who has some experience on the committee, even though he didn't sit on it, he did go to every meeting I was present at, because is really important, because I'm pretty sure no one else on the committee has experience going to these meetings other than, I believe, one of the students at large. So I think having someone who does have some experience would be really great, just to make sure that the committee has a little bit more knowledge of where things are going, what everything that's going on, because he also has really good fiscal experience. And then for my third, I'm split between Patel and Robbins.
Are there any other? Chair Borges.
Can I ask a question to everyone who's nominated? If they can actually go to the meeting?
You may ask that question.
I don't know if you guys need the date again, but do you need the date again? Okay.
So I'll just go in order. Patel.
Yeah, I know the date. Is that the question?
Are you able to attend?
Oh, yes.
Chair Al Borges.
Yeah, I can.
Chair Taché.
Yeah, I'm good.
Vice Chair Robbins.
Yep.
Senator Domino.
Affirmative.
Alrighty. Chair Holmes.
Chair Borges, I'm so sorry I forgot you were running, but he's my fourth endorsement, even though 3 people can get beyond the committee.
Alrighty. Are there any other senators wishing to debate? Vice Chair Robbins.
I'm not gonna like share all 3, but I do also want to speak in favor of Chair Borges. He has a lot of experience, and he's involved in a lot, but that also gives him more reach over what he knows on campus and what he knows students need.
Chair Spule.
Motion to vote.
There's a motion to go to voting procedures. Are there any objections? Senator Moll, do you withdraw the motion?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a yes. Senator Moll.
Point of information. Lots of people are saying first, second, and third votes. Are we going to have 3 votes, or is it just okay? Cool. Motion to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, this should be very fun. So I'm going to pass over to Brody.
Okay, so you may remember from towards the end of summer where we collectively as a group learned that in an election with 3 seats, you get 3 votes. Now, Zoom let us figure that out and work nicely. This system does not have an ability to do that. So while you all were answering questions, lovely, I was not listening and was figuring out a way to conduct this vote because I can't just count hands because we have to have a voting record. So the answer that I and Dylan have come up with is that you're all going to vote via paper, and then you're going to table this election to move on to other business while we tabulate those results in a spreadsheet that I have that you will then have access to, so you have the voting record. And that's what we're going to do. If we need a second vote, that's going to be fun. Hold on. Hold on. Take a breath. What you're going to vote on is that white piece of paper that's sitting at your table because it already has your seat number on it. Isn't that convenient? What do you want to? Okay. All right. Hold on. Bring it back. Okay. If you need a pen, raise your hand now. Aleph has a bunch and they're going to walk around and give you one because once we start voting, you can't talk. Remember? Okay. Yes. Salerno, you have a question?
I was going to suggest doing electronically so we don't waste paper, but if these are going to be recycled, okay, great. Thank you.
Give my pens back.
Yes.
I
Okay.
use these for journaling frequently.
If you need a pen, raise your hand now.
Like actually raise it so I can see it. Would be cool.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Hey, focus. Bring it back. Does anybody have a question about what this process is going to look like? Harrell.
Do we need to write in pen, or can it be a pencil?
As long as I can read it. So you get 3 votes, only 3. Nope, doesn't matter. You just get to vote for 3 of the candidates. Salcedo? As long as I know who you were voting for, I don't care. As long as it is clear to me who you are voting for. Mo.
Are the votes ranked, or is it just the 3?
Nope, you just are 3 candidates.
Would you like us to fold the paper after?
I could not care less. Just 3 votes on the paper.
How would you like these papers to be collected?
I'm going to make Aloe and Netta walk around and collect them. So as soon as you have written down your 3 votes, you will raise your paper. and they will come by and grab it.
And if you have one of my pens, give it back too.
All right, and we are in voting procedures, so no chatting, because clearly all of you have already voted. So evidently we're in voting procedures. Okay, I'm assuming that since you already have voted and are raising your hands, you don't have any more questions. This is a fun one. Yes, great. Okay, we're collecting papers. Nope, no more questions anymore. It's too late now. Okay, we're collecting papers. We're collecting papers. All right, is there anybody that has not cast their vote and wants to? Okay, we have collected all the votes. I'm going to recommend that you, the Senate, table this election to continue on to other business. So while we tabulate, and then we will come back with the results and can go from there.
Chair Temple.
Move to table scholarship committee elections until they are able to tabulate the results.
There's been a motion to table the scholarship committee elections. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in fiscal committee caucus time. So CRT, 5 minutes.
We will be on the center table on the left side, so if everyone can move their stuff away from there, please. And then we're going to start so soon, so please be quiet.
Everyone try to be quiet while we're leaving. Yeah. Yeah, please leave if you're not in
we are
CRT.
starting. Everyone, please. Patel, I need you. You're my vice chair.
Should we go get Scarlett because she's technically acting chair and or
Yes. Okay, the agenda is inside the CRT drive. I made it already. It'll be pretty fast. I am representing them. Patel, come on. I'm literally waiting on you. Scarlett is ORS rep, doesn't really matter. I call this meeting to order at 9:46 p.m. Roll call and verification of quorum, Vice Chair Patel.
Chair Boris.
Here.
So here, Hurrell.
Here.
Wanjin.
Here.
ORS rep. Pro temp rep.
Here.
5 out of 4. Quorum certified.
Vice Chair Patel, approval of the minutes. Look over last meeting's minutes. We'll take a motion when you guys are ready. Hurrell.
Move to approve last meeting's minutes.
A motion to approve last meeting's minutes. Any objections? Seeing none, I'll take that as joint consent. Look over today's agenda. I'll take a motion. I saw Foster. So the motion to approve today's agenda. Any objection? Seeing none, it stands approved. Announcements from the chair. Quick meeting, one allocation. I'm representing them. Any questions for me? Seeing none, Vice Chair Patel, any announcements? None? Okay, awesome. Any questions for Vice Chair Patel? Okay, committee members, anyone with an announcement? Nope, awesome. Non-committee members, anyone? Awesome, no. Old business, is there a motion for speeches, questioning, debate? Hurrell.
5 minute speeches, 10 minute questioning, and 10-minute debate.
So the motion for 5 minute speeches, 10-minute questioning, 10-minute debate. Any objections? Seeing none, I'll time myself for 5 minutes. Give me like 1 second. Okay. Yasmin will be attending the Orthopedic Summit Evolving Techniques, OSET 2022 in Boston, Massachusetts from September 22nd through September 24th, where she'll be presenting her research regarding orthopedic surgeons. In this research, she sent out a survey to orthopedic surgeons, specifically females, and collected data related to their stressors and their perceptions on such stressors, as well as how they navigate those stressors. The survey also connected all of these back to perceived success. A little fun fact she mentioned was that there was no evidence that a stressor of active childbearing had anything to do with success. Another cool finding was how these surgeons viewed their stressors actually took a lot more of an effect than the stressors themselves. Attending this conference will benefit Yasmin because UCF doesn't have an orthopedic program. At this conference, she'll be presenting at a podium, which only the top 10% of presentations are given on. She can also engage with programs and doctors from all around the country that can help her match into a program. This conference is extremely vital for her to make connections, and her being there will show the world that we are a research program capable of good research. With this, Yasmin can also help foster connections to other UCF students in the College of Medicine, especially women. She has completed financial training, knows about post-funding, and she has already received funding from us, and says she's very grateful to be receiving funding again. She's aware she can only receive $300 for this, and just so you guys know, she's already received $700. She can only receive $300 more for this fiscal year. I yield the questioning. Harrell.
Can I move to debate because you answered most of the questions in the speech? Move to debate.
So the motion to go to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Any debate? Harrell.
I mean, you covered almost everything in your speech. I think it would be a good idea to fund this. Clearly, she knows all the things she's been questioned by us previously. The conference seems really cool and very informative. With that, may I retain? With that, move to vote.
It's been a motion to vote on allocation 54078. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Vote count of 5 to 0. This passes. We're now done with old business, new business, none. Member discussion. Anyone wishing to discuss anything? None. Miscellaneous business. Wanjin.
Move to adjourn pending final roll call.
Been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Any objections? Seeing none, Vice Chair Patel.
Same as initial.
Okay, awesome. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 9:50 p.m. Thank you, guys.
Dylan, this is not this one. I have to be bathroom anyway.
Yeah, don't come with any I have to take them. Don't take away my tinkling time.
But how much have you completed?
Not that much.
That's what I was asking. Why do you have all these?
Wait, we haven't had it. We haven't had it here.
I saw it earlier. I saw it earlier.
I've been wondering why you had this the entire time, and the way that Jason says, I'm gonna run for everything now. Everyone's saying, I think they would have done it with the law.
No.
Okay, but I will immediately break my phone. Last Saturday, the first one I done
Thank you. All right, I reconvene this meeting at 9:53 p.m. Is there a motion to pick up scholarship elections from the table?
So moved.
All right, we're back in scholarship elections. I'm waiting 1 second, unless Brody's already sent it to me. It has just arrived. Is Brody, for clarity, is that in the order of the names? Okay, so with reading out, let me go back to it. Sorry, 1 second. All righty. Senator Patel, 17 votes. Senator Borges, or Chair Borges, 7 votes. Chair Taché, 24 votes. Vice Chair Robbins, 32 votes. And Senator Domino, 33 votes. So that means that Senator Domino, Vice Chair Robbins, and Chair Taché have been elected to the Scholarship Committee. Senator Spalding.
President voting.
So noted at 9:54 p.m. Brody.
I just want to let you all know I have the spreadsheet where we tally the votes. We're also going to keep the paper votes for some period of time. So if you would like to see those in addition to kind of the standard voting record, we will have them and you're welcome to review them whenever you would like.
Alrighty, so we are now in fiscal committee reports. CRT committee, Chair Borges.
Me again. Hi, guys. So this is the part I was trying to eliminate, but Title 8 makes me do it anyway. So in committee, old business allocation approved 54-044, the vote count of 5-0 to 1. 54-076, vote count 6-0 to 0. New business allocations postponed 54-078 by general consent. And then in caucus just now, we approved an old business allocations 54-078 by vote count of 5-0 to 0. So as I said, we approved. Now it's 3 allocations and postponed 1. Oh, wait, that was right before. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. 2 allocations and postponed 1 in committee. And then, of course, we just approved 1 in caucus. And our meeting times is Monday at 3:30 p.m. If you were a senator who wanted to join and was like, oh, my God, it's in person, I can't go. This is your time to join. We have food every week, if that's not a good enough reason, on top of dealing with money and cool students. Opening night was a huge success. We handed out over 130 pamphlets and spoke to 130 plus RSOs about having to receive money. So thank you to former ORS Chair Temple, current GAP Chair Temple, FAO Chair Millington, and ORS Vice Chair Robbins for being there. You guys were a huge help. Thank you for listening to my idea and be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And just in just the month of July, CRT impacted 253 students. So, you can clap if you want. So shout out to the entire CRT committee, everyone who is currently on it and people who were previously on it during July. So all 4 of us currently, that's why you guys should join. And I yield to my vice chair for AJ's non-assessment.
Hey guys, so since it was our first meeting back, we had no food. So as an alternative, I went ahead and asked everyone what their favorite food was. Senator Hurrell said hot pot. Senator Temple said grilled cheese. Senator Wangen said rice with Spam on top. Wait, hold on. The page moved, sorry. Senator Wangen said rice with Spam on top and wrapped in seaweed. Chair Borges said chicken parmesan. Pro Tem Foster said shrimp or brownies and also sushi. Netta said mashed potatoes, while Senator Robbins said stromboli and ice cream. Separately, of course. Could people stop moving this? I can't read. And then Senator Yamachili said dosa, which is a South Indian dish for you those who don't know. And then I said anything that is Mexican food because that will fly with me.
Alrighty, are there any questions for Chair Borges? Seeing none, FAO committee report, Chair Millington.
Hey guys, happy Thursday. So in committee this week, we approved allocations 54-4, 54-11, 54-13, and 54-14. We postponed allocation 54-12 and we PPI'd allocation 54-8. Just a heads up, I'll be reaching out to the caucus leadership soon to discuss hosting more FAO funding workshops. Huge shout out to all of the FAO committee members. The meeting went absolutely amazing. You guys are the best. Also PSA to join FAO if you're free on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. We would love to have you. Also, side note, I know this week's been stressful for everyone, so please take a second to make sure you're good mentally and do some things for yourself. That's it.
Are there any questions for Chair Millington? Senator Trainer?
This is more of a personal question. I'm not familiar with PPI and I could not Google it. I was wondering what PPI to mean.
I'm going to let GAP Chair Temple explain.
Thank you very much, good sir. So So in Senate terms, PP and PPI means to postpone, and to postpone indefinitely, meaning that to PPI indefinitely. You get it? Good.
Are there any other questions for Chair Millington? Chair Morrison.
Are you aware that you're in non-compliance for not adding your vote counts? Totally a joke. It's like bringing up the point from before.
Chair Millington.
I am now.
Are there any other questions for Chair Millington? Seeing none, ORS Committee Chair vacant. I'll allow Vice Chair Robbins to speak.
Yeah, this is a sad day. Ethan Temple, let me tell you, he's an amazing man and an amazing senator, and I miss him so much. I could cry right now. It's been a long week, so I might cry. But anyway, he's now GAP chair, which is perfectly fine, even though it's not. And so I am the acting chair, just for the time being until we hold elections this coming Tuesday, which is when we have ORS. Also, if you didn't notice, every committee is like begging for people, mostly the fiscal committees. So I just want to put out like a quick PSA, like fiscal committees are not boring. Like fiscal committees can get boring when it gets a little bit repetitive. Yeah. But other than that, like you are making serious impact, like thousands of dollars go through us as fiscal committees. And it doesn't matter which one you pick, like they're all very, very much vital. And the fact that we're begging for people is really sad because fiscal hearts like Katrina and Tyler understand, like, and Leslie, obviously, like, anyway, it's super important. Please join. And yeah. So this week, also, I want to explain Scarlett's snapshots. AJ has his assessment on food, which is mid. And then Scarlett's snapshots are about, like, we basically look like in our camera roll in our phone, like a year ago that day that we have committee, what we have in our phone. So actually sometimes it's pretty interesting, but most of the time it's just like Katrina's cat or something like that. So that's pretty much what I'm about to share. This week in committee, we enjoyed not only a meeting that ran far too long, shout out ORS bringing the heat, but many good snapshots from this week 1 year ago. I already explained what this is and the agenda keeps shifting, so hold on. Okay, our former chair was, of course, downloading memes from the Roman Republic. Tyler was mesmerized by his own reflection in the mirror while wearing his friend's cheerleading jacket. Furthermore, we had community meeting posters, vision boards, and a picture of yours truly before her first day of astronomy class. And no, that does not have anything to do with my major, which is criminal justice. And then, yeah, just another plug for ORS. That's it.
Are there any questions for Vice Chair Robbins? Seeing none, we are now in fiscal legislation. Notice of legislation on first reading. Bills, Fiscal Bill 5409, funding for 24 members of the Society of Women Engineers to travel to the Society of Women Engineers National Conference in Houston, Texas from October 20th, 2022 to October 22nd, 2022 is remanded to CRT. And then Fiscal Bill 5410, funding for future theme park leaders association to attend California Executive Management Shadow Week from December 11th, 2022 to December 18th, 2022 is remanded to CRT. I have been informed by Brody that one of those two bills will be PPI'd or PPI'd. I don't know why I added a letter in my head in committee. So resolutions none, special acts none, notice legislation on third reading. Bills none, resolutions none, special acts none. Notice of legislation on second reading, bills none, resolutions none, special acts none. Internal committee caucus time. Chair Salerno.
I just want to do a really quick point of information. I tried to click on Fiscal Bill 5410, but I don't have access to it. So could we fix that maybe? It says can't open file.
Yeah, I will fix that, but like probably not right this second. So if you all are cool waiting until like later tonight, then you will definitely have access.
Alrighty, internal committee caucus time, none. Internal committee reports, ENA committee, Chair Go.
Hi, everyone. I know we've had a long meeting already, so I'll go through this quickly. Welcome back. The consensus I've been hearing is classes are okay. Some are horrible. Some people are burnt out already. Take an hour of your day and just put some time into yourself. It really does help. We had a quick meeting this week where we passed internal bill 5423 favorably with a vote count of 5 to 0 to 0 and discuss how we will evaluate Title VI and tabling. We also bridged some Texians together, so yeehaw for them. Our modality will be hybrid with the expectation that you are on committee if you have not received approval from myself to be on Zoom due to work, research, etc. But your camera must be on and it'll be up to the discretion of ENA. So this is a modality that if some of us are working, you can join ENA. I would love to have you there. And then lastly, one-on-ones. I think it's really important to build those interpersonal relationships within our body and to really try to cultivate an environment of inclusivity. And so if you ever want to have a one-on-one, do homework with talking about ENA stuff, Senate stuff, life stuff, I'm just genuinely open and I do like to meet everyone. But that is it for me. I yield to questions.
Are there any questions for Chair Gill? Chair Borges.
Not exactly a question, just a thank you for including your vote count. I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions for Chair Gill? Seeing none, GAP Committee report, Chair Temple.
Hi, hello there, Senate. It has been a long while. So first and foremost, welcome back to being in person and welcome to all the new senators. I'm so glad I get to meet you all in person again for the first time. So GAP had a very productive first meeting back, starting with the election of a new chair, myself. We then went into a lengthy discussion regarding potential merchandise to entice students to prepare for and ultimately vote in the November midterms. And I have to say, the first discussion I've had as GAP chair, and I'm already loving it. But next week we will elect a vice chair and begin setting our plans in motion for the fall. And I cannot stress this enough. Thank you to the GAP committee for entrusting me with this role. And I cannot wait to work as chair. I seriously cannot wait. But that being said, if anybody in GAP or outside of GAP have any ideas or legislation you want to run through GAP, please reach out to me so we can discuss it and hopefully put things in motion. I yield to the speaker.
Are there any questions for Chair Temple? Vice Chair Robbins.
Are you sure this is what you want, Ethan?
I'm very afraid on how to answer that because I don't want to hurt your feelings. So make of it what you will.
Senator Wanjin.
Why were you never this excited about ORS?
I plead the fifth.
Are there any other questions for Chair Temple? Before we move on, congratulations. I wish you all the best. LGR Committee report, Chair Uran.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be back for the fall semester. Woo! We had a pretty chill week in LJR. We passed internal bill 5422 favorably and approved 2 absence requests and 2 blanket excuses. Currently, we have a sad roster of 5 people, including me. So I'm going to be like every other committee right now except SBA and GAP and beg. So please join if you want. We're at 10:30 on Wednesdays. And while I don't typically bring food, I will say our meetings are pretty easy, pretty slow. I mean, Jason might say the same. Like, we don't really do a whole lot other than absences and some bills. So if you're looking for a breezy committee to sit on, I gotcha. Yeah. Oh, also, we're not going to have a vice chair. So if you're interested in taking a leadership position, please be my vice chair. Yep.
Interesting pitch. Are there any questions for Chair Urea? Seeing none, SBA committee report, Chair Salerno.
Hey all, so this is going to be a little bit of a sad one. I'm going to reiterate everything that everyone said. Welcome back. We had a meeting today in which we had, as my vice chair says, necessary, uncomfortable conversations. And I encourage all of the committees and all of the caucuses to do the same. However, my actual announcement, so I will be resigning from Senate. Therefore, there will be a new chair. We will have new chair elections in our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is next week on September 1st at 2 p.m. And a quick shout out to all of the committee members. I love y'all. You're great. But also so that you know, if you're interested in sitting in, I appreciate all the senators that sometimes come and sit in. I really, really love the interaction from everybody else. But our meetings will be on Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Although this might change with new leadership. So hopefully you will be updated as the semester goes on. But yeah.
Are there any questions for Chair Salerno? Senator Spalding.
It's either for Salerno or for you. I know that the university kind of closes Thursday at 2 because of the game, but the meeting is Thursday at 2. Is that still like allowed, or I don't know if the campus is closing or it's just classes? That's just kind of a clarity.
Oh yeah, campus is closed. Jax will literally kick you out of the office. And I mean, like, they will stick their foot to your body and kick you out the door.
Cool. So we'll probably Sorry, Vice Chair Anderson. I'll yield to her. She's amazing, so she'll know.
Go for it.
We're going to go ahead and do hybrid then, and we're going to make sure that all of our cameras are on during this process.
Before we continue, Brody, is hybrid allowed if technically the school is closed?
If by hybrid you mean all of you are on Zoom, then yes.
Alrighty. Sounds like next week we'll be on Zoom. Are there any other questions for Chair Salerno? Senator Moll.
Point of information, we love you too, Stefania.
Any other questions for Chair Salerno? Alrighty, seeing none, we are now in confirmations. So our first confirmation we'll be seeing today is Vihan Yalamanchili for the role of internal legislative assistant. Before we begin, is there a motion for speech, questioning, and debate? Chair Holmes.
Motion for 10-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate.
There's been a motion for 10-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, it is approved. Senator Yalamanchili, you may come to the front. And I do believe, Brody. Oh, okay. Oh, it's projected above me. Who would have thought? Crazy. Okay. Senator Yalamanchili, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My fellow senators and the non-senators in this room, a very good afternoon. And my name is Vihan Yalamanchili. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm here before you to request you to confirm me as your internal legislative assistant. So a little bit about me. I was born in Lake Mary, Florida, so I'm a Orlando native. It's about 40 minutes from here. I lived in India for around 3 years, from 8th grade to 10th grade. I'm a current sophomore. I'm a junior at UCF, majoring in health sciences and minoring in history. Two passions that I deeply, deeply care about. And I chose to apply for the position of the internal legislative assistant because I wanted to help run the SGLC program. I was in the SGLC program last year, and it's a great program, truly very good for mentoring and training the next generation of leaders on for student government and other places on this campus, such as university agencies, departments, and RSOs. This program helps build character, leadership, and trains its members in how student government works. I think that it can be improved upon from the way it was last year, although it was run in a very, very good way by former ILA Huerta. I'm looking forward to lead the Student Government Leadership Council and the Senate Leadership Council, and to work with the coordinators of the Executive Leadership Council and the Judicial Leadership Council, that being Deputy Chief of Staff Jennifer Sobrino and the Internal Assistant Chief Justice Patrick Hodges. It's the SGLC program is a great way to get more people interested in the workings of student government. We already have a lot of people on this campus who want to enact good change in their community, who care about their fellow citizens. And student government is a great place for that, but they don't know that. And a lot of people are not aware of what student government does. And to introduce them to SG via the SGLC is a great way to increase the number of people who are interested in student government. And it's not only them, they will tell other people, their friends, their family about the program and get people excited in what we do. And what that means is that we have more interest, more enthusiasm. In the past election cycle and in the election cycles before that, it is to my knowledge that the turnout of student body voters is around 10%. I think that's a pretty low number. I think we ought to do better, and we ought to have that number go up. And the SGLC program is a great way to do that. And I will table as much as I can, if appointed, in order to let as many people as possible know about SGLC and what it can do for them, what it can do for UCF, and how it can empower them to do good in their communities. I would table at popular locations around campus, like the Student Union, like the library, and at Memory Mall. More so, I think that SGLC requires not just experience in student government, but also a character of friendship, understanding, and compassion. I know that the previous ILA, when she ran the SGLC program, made a great, safe, and welcoming environment through her friendliness and through listening. And I promise to continue that. I want to know every SGLCer that is chosen in the program on a personal level. There are about 60 people that were chosen last year. I would assume that the numbers this year would be quite similar. And I want to make sure that I know each and every one of them on a personal level and be there for them, advise them, encourage them to apply to positions that they would be talented in student government. More so, I think the SGLC program requires a leader who imparts excellence and integrity into the program. SGLCers naturally have an edge over senators who did not participate in the SGLC program, and that they are able to get involved in Senate activities sooner than usual if they are elected to the Senate. And so it is my hope that in the SGLC program, I can train and mentor, along with the other coordinators, leaders who enter student government with confidence, without anxiety, and without nervousness. And this would be through skills that they will learn about student government through mock activities, such as encouraging them to sit in on Senate meetings, sit in on committee meetings, sit in on caucus meetings, and also attend events hosted by the judicial and executive branches. More so, it is important that they are given leadership opportunities so that they can build character, gain event organizing skills, and also be able to understand Senate procedures. That would happen through workshops on legislation writing, through pairing them up with mentors who are current senators in this Senate, as well as other activities such as mock caucus meetings that they would be allowed to lead, and mock committee meetings as well, so that they know and understand how Robert's Rules of Procedure works. And it's not just that. It's also committees that they will be allowed to run for the benefit of SGLCers and the community around them. The 4 committees being the Night-Thon Committee, which allows the SGLCers to help the UCF's annual Night-Thon, which helps children with cancer and other people who have health issues, as well as the Events Committee. The Events Committee would be a committee that allows them to conduct socials within the confines of the Student Government Leadership Council, so that they can have a little bit of fun, get to know each other, and bond in a very great way. And those could happen in Lake Claire Memory Mall or the SG conference rooms. And this would not be planned out by me, but by the members of the Student Government Leadership Council, for it is their opportunity to lead. The third committee would be the Volunteer Committee, where they are encouraged to plan out volunteer events, join other volunteer events, so that they can do some community service and learn about the organizations on this campus, learn about the RSOs, the agencies, departments, etc. I also think it is important for SGLCers to know the agencies and departments that are behind the implementation of student government's initiatives. It is not just student government that implements initiatives. It is
1 minute left.
It is the bureaucracy that is this university, and I'm sure that students ought to be able to interact with people like in the Office of Student Involvement, like in the Multicultural Student Center, people in university agencies and departments that do great work, that are behind the backbone of student government initiatives. And I think that is important. And these are all the things that I hope to embody in the SGLC program. And that is why I'm running for ILA. And that is why I request this Senate to confirm me as the next ILA. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, so before we continue, just if you look in the confirmations, the documents have now been linked, so you can see the documents for all 3 of the candidates. We are now in a period of questioning. Chair Temple.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My apologies. Good evening, Senator Yangaman-Chili. So I am aware that you have been a part of the SGLC program. I served alongside you in the prior year, and I have recognized your immense passion for the program. You have, before I continue, 2 questions, if I may, Mr. Speaker.
You may.
Thank you. So my first question would be that since you have had prior experience with the SGLC program, and you have had communication with the former ILA, who was fantastic at her position, I have to ask, what improvements specifically do you wish to develop for this upcoming program?
I think one key improvement is that students go into the leadership councils that they are most passionate in. And in the last SGLC program, that was seen. And students who were there was a tracker, and based on to what extent you participated in the events of the various branches of student government, based on those numbers, you would be assigned to either the Senate Leadership Council, the Executive Leadership Council, or the Judicial Leadership Council. I think assigning students ought to be more multifaceted, and I would approach that with 3 facets. One being, obviously, as last time, seeing how much each student has participated in the activities of the exec, judicial, and legislative branches. Number 2 would be to ask them what leadership councils they want to be on, because it would be a shame for somebody to end up on a council that they did not want to be part of. And the third would be a examination of people's talents and where they would fit most. And I would work with the ELC and JLC coordinators to ensure that that is the case, and also that the three legislative councils, the ELC, JLC, and SLC, are integrated together and that they are aware of the activities of the other, because last year they were mostly separated and that was not the case.
My second question.
You may.
Thank you. So insofar as the Senate Leadership Council and the wider program as a whole, how would you want senators in particular to support you and the other coordinators should they wish to volunteer to support those two programs?
Right. So an integral part of the SGLC program is the mentee-mentor relationship between SGLCers and student government agents. Those student government agents would include you senators, officials in the executive branch, and also members of the judicial branch as well. And I would hope that for the purpose of the SGLC program, that we have enough people in this student body senate who are willing to sign up in order to mentor these students and give them a close look at how Senate works and what the activity of being a senator or a cabinet member or a justice is like, depending on which mentor they get and what branch they're in. Moreover, I think that because an integral part of the SGLC will be to encourage students to come in and sit in on Senate meetings with the time that they have available in a reasonable context, I would expect that I would humbly request this Senate to be on its best behavior, because these are the people who are going to see how Senate works, and they should see a Senate that is functional, that is polite, that is respectful, and that is not engaging in the type of behavior that Speaker Hall outlined at the beginning of this Senate meeting. And I think that would be very helpful for the SGLC program, because positivity and in a good, welcoming environment gets people excited and makes them want to participate in student government activities, because it would be good for their mental health and not detrimental for their mental health.
Senator Castellan.
I have two questions, so can I ask?
You may.
Okay. So first, how would, because I was also part of SGLC last year, and I know there were times where some students felt like the meetings weren't productive, but like among different branches. So how would you ensure that all SGLC meetings would be efficient and, enjoyable and productive for all the SGLCers, and even like among the other branches that you might not even, the meetings you might not even be a part of, to ensure that's being, held?
Right. I think it's important to have productive meetings in order to keep interest, because if it's not productive, people are going to get bored. People have limited attention spans. And I think that a meeting should have multiple different aspects. One being the professional aspect, like whatever the objective of the meeting is on that particular day, whether it is telling students how to write legislation, giving them practice on identifying errors in legislation, learning Robert's Rules of Order, talking about the difference between internal bills, resolutions, etc. These are just a few examples, but also I'm sure that the coordinators have to not just have a professional aspect to it, but like a fun aspect to it. And so I would encourage icebreakers, fun activities as well. And again, I would say that I have a fairly good sense of humor. So I think that people would be interested in the SGLC meetings that they come to.
I'm going to go Becerra next.
Two questions, if I may.
You may.
I also have one question that I don't know if anyone could answer. If I could ask to the floor.
Is that one of the two questions? Go for it.
Does anyone know when SGLC starts this semester? Because I have no clue.
I can tell you that the applications are due, I believe, the first or second week of September. That's as far as second week of September. Senator Spalding.
Sorry, I know that the applications are due September 2nd, but I don't know when it starts.
Yeah, I think they need to do a vetting interview process, whatnot. I don't know if if Deputy Chief of Staff Sabrino and Assistant Chief Justice Morgan have finalized that date. Senator Wanjan, did you have something to anyways. Senator Basari, your second question.
Yeah, so hello, Chair Yellow Chili. Definitely enjoyed my time in SGLC with previous ILA Huerta. My question to you is, have you talked or to the previous ILA Huerta about going for this position to learn more about this position?
I have. I've talked to her about it before applying for it because I wanted to know what I was getting into. I was told that it was a lot of work. It is a level of work I'm willing to put in because the SGLC program is a program I am deeply passionate in. I was a member and I want to do what I can to make it better. I had a lot of fun, and I was told that you will face challenges, you will face criticisms if things go wrong in some cases, because obviously the unintentional mistake will be made, and I am more than willing to take that advice that I was given and accept constructive criticism and do the best what I can do to help improve SGLC and not just listen to my criticisms of the previous year, which it was good, mind you, but also the concerns of the SGLCers themselves, because it is they who are in the program. It is them who need to be happy to be in that program. And I have the encouragement of ILA Huerta, and I'm optimistic, and I hope that it would be a great year.
I'm going to go Borges, then Sabula, then Taché, then Wanjan.
I have two really fast questions and then one that's normal. Is that okay?
Go for it.
Okay. So what is one thing you would do differently from ILA Huerta?
I think what I would do is that I would introduce students to agencies and departments that are behind student government's initiatives. That was not particularly done last year. I think SGLCers would benefit to know people in things like late nights, Knights of the Round Table, OSI, MSC, etc. I know that last year an event was done where SGLCers were able to know the police officers who run the police department. I think that it could be more holistic, and people could understand other parts of the university as well, instead of just organizations like UCFPD, and I think that's a very important thing, and SGLCers would benefit from that.
Okay, so just in like one or two sentences, I know a lot of SGLCers did not want to be in SLC, so what is one way you plan to change that?
So I would say that the key to having interest in SLC is to emphasize the importance of the legislature in student government. I believe that all three branches of student government are important, but the ultimate backbone of student government is this Senate. It is all of you here. And it is these bills that are written in this chamber that the executive branch is tasked with implementing. And I really want to make that clear to SGLCers, because without the Senate, student government would not be what it is, and the other branches could not function as well. And that is a very important distinction that should be made, because in my view, the Senate is truly the backbone of student government, because it is the direct elected body, elected legislative body, and It is the representation of the people's voice, and that is what makes it very special. And I think that SLCers.
Senator Yalamachili, just in the interest of time, because we're already nearing 2 minutes, to kind of just go to the next question and then probably just try to speed run these last couple questions.
All right.
I love the passion.
Fair enough.
Senator Borges, or
Thank
Chair
you.
Borges.
So you're one of the SGLCR who did not complete your point requirements. Are you able to explain why?
So one of the reasons that I was not able to complete my core requirements in the first semester of SGLC was that I had a very busy schedule in that semester of last year, and I was able to not have a good work-life balance. I overloaded myself. It was a mistake that I have admitted to, and I've strived to improve upon. I simply did not have the time to give as much time to SGLC as I wanted because of the strenuous schedule I was under in the fall semester and of last year, and that is not the case now.
Senator Sevilla.
Okay, this is a quick one. Just name a statutory requirement of the legislative assistants.
So one of the requirements of the legislative assistants is that they have to meet with the Senate President, that is the Speaker, on a weekly basis to discuss how their initiatives are going on and how they can be of best service to the Senate and student government.
All righty, we're at 50 seconds. Senator Tashi. All right, Senator Wanjan.
Do you be interested in involving EC and SGLC for more than the one meeting we had last year?
Yes, most definitely.
Chair Urea.
Last semester, or spring semester, you were dismissed due to absences. That would be detrimental to the program if that were to happen again. How can you guarantee that that won't happen again?
Well, I have a schedule that allows me the time to devote plenty of time to SGLC. I only have 4 classes, and on Thursdays when SGLC meetings are typically conducted, my classes are over by 2:50, and the SGLC meetings last year started at...
Time has expired, but thank you.
Thank you.
So questioning period has elapsed. We are now in debate. I'm going to go Senator Taché first.
Cool. So I'll just start by saying, Vihan, you have my vote to be confirmed. But I just did want to say, because I was going to ask some questions related to it, but then time, that I do think there are a lot of fundamental flaws with the SGLC program. I think it's had a kind of negative impact on student government. And I think there are some things that should be really changed about it. And I'd love to have some conversations about that. I think you're one of the people in here that I trust to listen and try to make some of those changes to try to reduce the harms that I feel the culture of SGLC is at the center of. But all that being said, I do trust that you're one of the people that'll do that. So I will vote to confirm you. But yeah.
Chair Temple.
A point of information, if I may, before I go into debate.
You may.
So I'm looking through my private emails and I believe that it would take roughly 2 weeks from the due date of the SGLC applications to know when exactly the SGLC program begins, because I'm just going to leave it off from there, but do not quote me, please. But insofar as Senator Yalamachili here, I have to say that although I do know him personally, that in no way affects my judgment on this matter. I will be voting to confirm him as the internal legislative assistant, because in a professional stance, I have seen his work both in Senate and in SGLC. And although it is unfortunate that he was not able to make up to meet the requirements of the SGLC program, I have seen his work in Senate and in his close communication with the former ILA. And I have the full confidence that he will be able to do what it takes to improve the SGLC program, which is, of course, a flawed body. As much as I love that program with all my heart, it is flawed in some regards. But I have full faith and confidence that he will do what it takes to improve the program to the best of his ability.
Chair Patel.
So I was not an SGLC, but based on what I've seen, I think Senator Yalman is like a man of quality over quantity. The things that he does do, he's super, super passionate about. For point of reference, the first Senate meeting I ever attended before I became senator, I saw Senator Yalman just sitting there by himself, like as an SGLC here, and he was sitting in the back just watching SGLC, Senate. And he's also one of the people who spoke in the open forum, and he just started advocating about the views of the College of Medicine. Even though he wasn't a senator, he was still like representing the College of Medicine before he even became a senator. And that was back before when he was a biomed major. So I think he's super passionate. Being an SGLCer, the way he was passionate about, I have no doubt he'll be like as passionate to lead the next generation of SGLCers. And considering his mentorship from before in SGLC, I have no doubt that he'll go above and beyond and commanding like the duties of ILA and running the whole SGLC program for the next year. So I'll be voting in favor.
In the interest of time, there have been 3 affirmation speeches in a row. Are there any individuals wishing to speak against? Seeing none, I will take a motion. Chair Temple.
Move to vote on the confirmation of the ILA.
There has been a motion to vote on the confirmation of the internal legislative assistant. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 35 to 1 to 2, Senator Yalman is confirmed as the internal legislative assistant. We will next be seeing Senator DeMarla for the role of external legislative assistant. Whenever you're ready.
Hello. Okay. Hi, my name is Akila DeMarla, and I'm excited to be here, appointed for the role of ELA. During the speech, I just want you to get to know me, my values, and how I plan to integrate them into my role of ELA. My goal sheet should be published, and I hopefully created in a manner that should be easy to understand. But if you do have a question, please ask it. I would love to talk about my initiatives. To start off, I was born in Michigan and moved to Texas 7 years ago. Not really related, but I do like mentioning it because I think it's very cool when I meet people from places that I've been, that I live. So yeah, I started learning tennis in Michigan and I continued it in Texas, making it very integral to who I am as a person. I was on varsity for all 4 years of high school, and I'm proud of the lessons that I've learned from it. In tennis, we learned 2 very important things: sportsmanship and communication. There's a phrase engraved in my mind: when in doubt, or always give the benefit of the doubt to your opponent. What this means is when you hit a ball to the other side and you think it's in, but your opponent calls it out, just have trust and faith in them that they judged it to the best of their ability. Trust is something engraved in me, and it'll continue to be with me throughout my position if confirmed for ELA. And I hope to hold amicable relationships with every individual. And also another thing that I've learned through tennis is the importance of communication, especially when playing doubles, which is the two-person teams version, if you guys don't know tennis. But I can never assume someone's thoughts if I want to work alongside with them. So I like to base my actions based on people's words rather than assumptions I might make. And I feel like it's made me to make actions that I'm more proud of and help to make actions that have benefited everyone that I've been involved with, and also the actions that I hope to commit in the future. Moving on to one of my other long-standing hobbies, which is putting on makeup. Since the age of 12, when I would steal makeup from my mom's cabinet, makeup was a way for me to express myself. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It made me feel cool and grown up. But it became something even more when I learned how to apply it on someone else. Through applying mascara or swiping eyeshadow on someone's eyes, I was able to enhance other people's natural features, making them feel like the best in their own skin. And this feeling of gratification is something that made me interested in my passion for medicine. Being able to make people feel the best that they can, no matter what, mentally and physically. And it's something that I also hope to achieve in this position of ELA. I intended this position that I can be an effective medium almost to bring out the best in everyone. Through my initiatives, I hope to help each individual reach their goals and feel the best they can in Senate. And the last hobby that I feel like gains a little insight into who I am is playing board games, which is kind of nerdy, but I do love them. I love board games. I collect them. I think the most expensive one I have is like $80, and I don't regret it. It's very pretty. But whether the board game is competitive or collaborative, the beauty I find in all of them is that there are many paths to achieve the goal that you want to in the game. And this speaks to my critical thinking. Within board games, in my daily life, and in, if confirmed, ELA position, I like to consider any factors that my mind runs through into decisions I make. I think about the side effects, short-term consequences, and benefits, and long-term ones, and how does everyone really would react to it? How will they get affected by it? I also think that board games are a testament to how I like to think outside the box. If one way to achieve my goal is blocked, it doesn't mean that there are other ways to achieve that same goal, and that's kind of the mindset I have. So through learning about me and my hobbies, I hope that you've learned about the traits and how it'll play into my role of ELA. So with that, I kind of yield to questioning, and I hope to learn about what you are looking for in me. So thank you.
We are now in a period of questioning. Senator Chair Sabile.
What is one of the duties of the legislative assistants as laid out in the statutes? Or yeah.
I have to schedule dean meetings in the fall and spring for each college.
Senator Wanjin.
So you have on your goal sheet that you want to reach out to UCF news outlets and remain in continuous communication with them in order to help broaden access to knowledge of student issues across campus. What are some student issues that you think Senate has worked on that you would really like to publicize better?
There are a lot of issues that I think Senate has made me proud to be a part of. One recently is Sierra Holmes or Senator Holmes initiatives for the Black Business Month on August 30th. I wish that was publicized a little more beyond the Instagram because I think it's a very cool opportunity, and I just think that it's something we should be proud of. Another thing that I've seen in the past is our sustainability initiatives. I know Senator Costas has gone through a lot of that, and it is very admirable.
Chair Borges.
Two, if I may. The first one is just, what is one thing you do differently from ELA Galloway?
One thing that I would do differently is the meetings. I would like to have more collaborative meetings. It's one of the things I laid in my goal sheets. I think that it's very important to be in a group of people discussing your initiatives, because what one person might not know about a certain aspect of a possible initiative might help another formulate even into a better point. And I think that just greater ideas could come from more collaboration.
The second question is, I love your record keeping initiative. I would love if you could explain it more. I feel like not everyone read it and it's amazing. So
Yes, thank you. So a little issue that I came across this past semester when at the dean meetings was the fact that I was not sure if any of the initiatives that I came up with were brought up previously. And I was working with some of my initiative ideas with Senator Wanjin, and she was able to point out that some of mine were repeated and that they were shut down due to these reasons. So in the hopes and goals of not having that also happen, record keeping would be important, and also for the future so that people can know what initiatives happen, where they can follow it, like the details of it, and maybe where we can progress in the future.
Vice Chair Castleton.
Yes. So prospectively speaking, how do you plan to ensure consistent relationships with the deans and, ensuring that I don't know if you, I don't think you answered this completely, but like just ensuring that student initiatives are followed through with, or just like being able to, keep that consistent communication with the deans about our initiatives.
Yes, so I answer that in two ways. Obviously with the deans, since they're not like a face-to-face entity that I can easily contact with, they'll have to be through emails. But to keep that transparent and also to hold myself accountable, through initiative tracking and record keeping, I want to publicize everything on the not only just the Google Drive, but there's also a page for initiatives on the SG website that I think would be cool to add some initiatives that have actually taken off. And that way, not only can we monitor our progress, but also students who look at the SG website can be able to see that. I think I answered your question. Please tell me if I didn't.
Senator Spalding.
Hi, I just have a really funny, silly question. You mentioned that you loved board games. What's your favorite board game?
Space Base. It's a game called Space Base. Oh, you know it? Oh my God, that's crazy. It's a really good game.
Are there any other questions for Senator DeMarla? Senator Spalding.
I was just going to move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. Chair Borges.
I absolutely love the answers to our questions and her initiatives. Amazing initiatives. They were so good. If you guys didn't read them, read them. I think she's going to be an amazing ELA, and I'll be voting in favor.
Senator Domino.
I too have had the tremendous pleasure of speaking with Senator DeMarla. I like how in your speech you spoke about things that you like, your hobbies, your interests, and then tied it into how that can be incorporated into this position, which I think not only gave us an insight of who you are, but how you literally apply everything that you do to the things that you want to accomplish and things that I feel like you will accomplish. So I would be voting highly in favor of you and encourage everyone else to do so.
I'm going to go with Senator Wangen.
Sorry, I just had to say I'm so proud of my mentee. I think she will be an amazing ELA. You should definitely read. I'm going to echo Borges. You should read her initiatives if you haven't. They're great.
So there have been 3 speeches in the affirmation. Are there any in negation? Seeing none, I'll take a motion. Chair Gell.
Move to vote on the confirmation of Akila DeMarla for ELA.
There's been a motion to vote on the confirmation of Akila DeMarla for the role of external legislative assistant. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 37 to 0 to 0, Senator DeMarla is confirmed as the external legislative assistant. We will now be seeing the confirmation of Senator Ryan McClellan for the role of Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs. Whenever you're ready.
Is this working? Or will this work?
It should. Make sure it's on with the little clicker on the side, but yeah, it should.
Oh, there's a thing on the side. Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Ryan McClellan, and I'm once again in front of you all, this time hoping to be confirmed as the Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs. I'm going to get right into goals and practices that I'd like to keep. I'd like to keep up with senators when it comes into the main duties that people associate with this position, which is legislation, having the legislation that is due at Wednesdays at 5. Fiscal is written by the DLEG, and internal legislation is reviewed and advised. But when it comes to fiscal legislation, it is assigned a senator. And I'd like to make sure that when it comes to the senator that is assigned, that there is a contact between myself and that individual to make sure that they are contacting with their RSO. They know what it means to be the introducer of a fiscal bill and are not just left in the dark. I don't want to just hand them this bill and be like, okay, cool. I want to follow up and make sure that they know what's going on and are made aware of what their role is. Being efficient and effective and efficient, I always want to be this. I bring it up every single time I'm up here. They're very important. Legislation is how we do things for the student body. And as such, I want to make sure that the legislation that is sent is being processed and make that we get to see it as well. Advising and reviewing. Reviewing is just that, but then having that and advising the senators if there is hopefully going into this, there'll be even conversations. I'd like to do things like have brainstorm sessions. I've mentioned this before, but I really think that working together with senators to make sure that we're always thinking of things that we can do. And maybe in our conversations about legislation, you figure out that you don't even need to write something. You can go and talk to somebody and you can get things done just by being a senator. So just having all of these things, it's way more effective to do that than sometimes to write a bill. So things like that. Being knowledgeable and being resourceful. Like I just mentioned with the resourcefulness and of going and using the fact that you are in student government sometimes can get things done when you otherwise couldn't have for your college and things like that. For just how I go about, I want to make sure that I am somebody that people can come to. And if I'm not able to give you an answer, I can help you get in touch with somebody who can. I want to be just able to be that resource, be just helpful in whatever it is, whether it even is student government or whether it isn't. I'd like to make sure that I have a good relationship with everybody and be that resource. And then finally, in the end, I want to walk away from this saying I have done a good job, because a good DLEG can go unnoticed, but if you are a bad one or if you are a great one, I'd like to be the latter, but the former surely cannot go unnoticed. There's a lot of things that happen that need to be done. So at the end of the day, I want to say that I have done a good job. Thank you. I will now open myself up to questions.
We're now in a period of questioning. I'm going to go Senator Washington first.
3 questions, if I may.
You may.
Are you familiar with the process of representing fiscal bills?
I believe that they are assigned to a senator if, like the RSO list that the DSER is in charge of. For example, if you have that, I believe that would be you represent your RSOs, but if not, then they are assigned based off of, I assume, based off of college or based off of interaction with that kind of RSO or something like that. But from that, the role, I believe, is just to make sure that you are in contact with them, saying that, yeah, you know, you can show up to represent your bill in the during Senate meetings. So basically during the Senate meeting, you just say, if the RSO is here, you will introduce them and they'll come up and they'll speak their piece. That's as far as I know.
Second question, what is the required timeline for a fiscal bill submission?
For fiscal bill submission, like Wednesdays at 5 p.m. or are you talking about like, what do you mean?
Like as far as the timeline from when it needs to be submitted to when funding is needed, what that timeline needs to be?
For a bill, if you want it, I believe it's like around 45 days or so.
And then my final question, describe one scenario in which you would reject a piece of legislation besides significant technical errors.
Besides significant technical errors, I guess it depends on what type. If it's like a resolution, proclamation, or like, because the nature of the bills are very different. For a internal bill, let's just say it's an internal resolution on Senate rule or something. If the bill is, for example, trying to amend the Senate agenda so that we only have announcements and then fiscal bills and then adjournment. Obviously, things of that nature I would just throw out because it is just absurd, frankly. So things like that where they're trying to change things that they like, that would do terrible harm to the Senate as it functions.
Chair Borges.
May I ask 2 questions?
You may.
Okay, the first one is, can you explain to us how to determine the reversion date and verification of purchase form due date on fiscal bills?
As of right now, I cannot.
My second question is, how do you plan to keep internal biases away from advising and or approving legislation such as Vice Chair Almenar's gun reform bill?
So speaking of that, I even helped him. I was working with him while he was forming that because I wanted to make sure that at least if I was going to say something, I had talked to him about it before, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just out of nowhere. So things like that where like I can work with him and I can work with anybody on bills just for writing it, and I can have my views about it and I may express them on the floor, but like while they're being written and stuff, I'll do my best to make sure that the bill itself with the author's intent is as well as good as it can be.
Chair Sabila.
What is one of the duties of the deputy pro tempores as laid out in the statutes?
To be a point of contact between the Senate and the A&SF business office.
Are there any other questions? Chair Borges. Senator Casas.
How prepared do you feel you are for this position?
I feel that I've talked to Nick, and then depending on whether I'm confirmed or not, I do intend on talking to past DLEG Wanjin to make sure that going into it, I can hit the floor running. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to learn how to do, like in regards to reversion rates and stuff specifically, but I'm willing to learn. I have the time to during the days, and as much as any job, you learn the most in like the first few weeks. So that'll be me.
Senator Yalamanchili.
Would you treat fiscal legislation differently based on its nature, whether it is academic, professional research, political, athletic, etc.?
No. I mean, if you have a fiscal bill and you're trying to get funding, I'm just going to make sure that it's written well.
Chair Borges, final question.
Can I move for a non-committee member to speak, that being former Chair Cox?
I'm not going to see that in questioning. I'll see that in debate. Are there any other questions for the Senator McClellan? Seeing none. Senator Domino.
If confirmed, what's the first thing you're going to do? Like, how would you hit the ground running?
So I'm probably going to be, like I mentioned, reaching out to Senator Wanjin. I'm going to be talking to Brody about how to specifically do a lot of the like contacting people and learning fiscal bills more. I assume Senator Wanjin will know a lot about that too, but just learning how to do the job and stuff, I'll immediately be contacting them.
Senator Yalamanchili.
So in the statutes, one of the duties of the pro temp of legislative affairs is to review and advise student senators on all internal legislation, and internal bills are something we regularly see in the LJR committee. And I know that you're the LJR vice chair. And so how have your experiences as LJR vice chair helped you in being able to do this task?
So in LJR, we have a few times amended, and we've discussed possibilities for amendments on the floor, and we've gone through a lot of reviewing and stuff of that nature, as you are well aware. So I would just take that to another level with all the bills. I can do that maybe before it even hits LJR. I can help advise, give some suggestions, talk to the senators that submit the bills, and help them make it the best bill that it can be.
Senator Yalamanchili, last question.
Yeah. So, are you willing to resign as LJR vice chair to comply with the statutes if confirmed by the Senate to this position?
If I'm not automatically resigned by being confirmed, then yes.
Senator Spalding.
Move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. I'll go Chair Borges.
Sadly, I'll have to speak against this candidate. Him answering my questions and Senator Wanden's questions incorrectly leads me to not trust his ability to write fiscal bills effectively and in a timely manner, which could cost hundreds of students thousands of dollars of funding, and that's absolutely not okay with me. Point of information for some of the answers: it's 2 business days before Senate to be put on first reading, and 45 business days it needs to be passed by Senate. 45 business days later is the start of the conference. It must be within that timeline. I've already had to go to my way to write fiscal bills and adopt them in CRT to ensure over 100 students received funding just a few weeks ago when they weren't written by President Foster. And I see the exact same issue happening again with Vice Chair McClellan if he becomes DLEG. I'll be voting against his appointment. You all should too.
Chair Urea.
So, Senator or Vice Chair McClellan has worked under me for like, I don't know, 2-3 months now. And he's a really quick learner and he's been a great vice chair. I will say that as far as fiscal knowledge, LJR is not familiar. That's not our focus at all. We don't look at anything fiscal. So I kind of understand why there may be some gaps in knowledge there. And quite frankly, like, we're not human computers and life is open book. So I don't doubt that he's not going to go back and make sure that he has everything correct and straight and learn from there. I remember when I started LJR, I felt like a chicken with my head cut off, but that's like how you learn, is being thrown into uncomfortable situations. So I'm going to be voting in favor of him, and I recommend that everyone else does too.
Senator Moll.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo some of Chair Borges' statements. When I think of former DLEG Wanjin, I think of someone who is always a resource to me, who I can always trust if I need some help crafting some legislation having to do with fiscal matters or having to do with internal matters. Those are things that I know that I can trust DLEG Wanjin to help me out with. It seems like there are some gaps in knowledge with Vice Chair McClellan that really I think that someone who's being put into that position of DLEG shouldn't have. So I'll also be voting against.
We go Chair Millington.
I'm going to be speaking in favor of this candidate on 2 points. First, I want to say that this candidate sits on FAO, so I've gotten to see firsthand their passion for fiscal, and I will say that if there's ever something that they don't understand, they always come and ask me about it, and they're always like eager to learn more. So on the fiscal side, I don't have any doubt that if there is something that they don't know, they can pick it up super quick. I do also want to mention, for all these positions, the way that I see it, it's less on technicalities, things that you can learn quickly, and more on personality and how well that person fits the position. So I honestly think that Vice Chair McClellan is a good fit for this position. And if there are some certain things that he doesn't know right now, that's okay. Not everybody knows everything going into positions. I didn't know everything going into my position. I'm sure everyone can say the same. So I will be voting in favor, and I urge everyone to as well.
Senator Harrell.
Okay, I'm going to start this off by saying I suck at public speaking, talking to people. So if I look nervous, I am. I will be speaking in favor of Vice Chair McClellan. I will quote what everyone said at the beginning of Senate when I became a new senator. Senate is a learning curve. Not everyone's going to know absolutely everything. I mean, we have seen with former DLEG Wanjin, she does know a lot. But I'm sure she didn't start off knowing absolutely everything. Everyone is going to be able to learn. And one thing I have noticed about Vice Chair McClellan is if he doesn't know something, he's looking it up in statutes. He did it during ANSF committee elections or whatever it's called. And he admitted that he had to look that up. And I think that showed a lot about Vice Chair McClellan, that he is willing to learn and willing to admit when he does not know something. And I respect that immensely from him. So with that, I'll be voting in favor, and I encourage all of you to as well.
I'm going to go Senator Costas.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I'm currently undecided. After working with D-Leg Wanjan and former D-Leg Bonifant, I feel like the preparation that I'm seeing from Vice Chair McClellan hasn't been up to those standards. So I don't know how faithfully this position will be executed if he wins, but I do also understand that there are benefits that some of my colleagues have listed, like Chair Rea and Chair Millington, that I do understand he can fit the position in some ways. But I am leaning towards no, just because from what I remember from D-Leg Wanjan's, former D-Leg Wanjan's confirmation, there was just such a bigger agenda with the preparation and understanding of what the position actually did. As Chair Bohr has mentioned earlier, this is a very important position, and it should be attended to with the utmost care, as we're going to be looking at very serious bills as the fall semester continues.
Chair Gill.
I will start this off by saying that I will be voting in favor. I think that something that I've been hearing in debate is the comparison between former D-Legs and this D-Leg. I think it's important that we assess this individual and not compare. I think comparison is something that should not be in this body because everyone is different. Everyone has different strengths. Everyone has different weaknesses. And I don't think it's fair to sit and compare those things. What I can say about Vice Chair McClellan is Vice Chair McClellan is an open person. Vice Chair McClellan is hardworking. Vice Chair McClellan will get the job done. Vice Chair McClellan shows up, and he shows up for everyone, and he is fair. And I think that he has the capability of learning the skills of D-Leg. I understand fiscal's issue with a lot of things, but I think that life is teachable, similar to what Chair Urea said. Life is an open book. Statutes are accessible. He will have a support team within the pro temp's office. I think that we should listen to the pro temp point to this person because they see the potential. And I think that similar to what now ELA DeMarla said is give someone the chance. I think the hypotheticals of, what if he doesn't get this done right? It's a lot of what ifs instead of an even if. We as a body are growing, and I think that we need to allow room for growth. I think it's unfair to sit in a position and ridicule someone for something that they have yet to prove. I think we should give Vice Chair McClellan the opportunity to prove himself, to grow in this position, and then assess if he is not pulling through and fiscal is very upset, then we can reassess. And I think that that's an appropriate solution. He didn't know the answer to everything. That's why we have statutes. I don't know the answer to everything. And I think it's unfair to just base your vote off of that and your vote off of comparing other D-Legs to this potential D-Leg. And so I really urge the body to take into consideration what I've said and vote in favor of Vice Chair McClellan.
Chair Patel.
Look, so I've seen Vice Chair McClellan work in both internal and fiscal. I've seen how he works and operates in LGR and in FAO, and I can only speak good things about him. Like, he will question every little tiny detail and everything he does before he makes an informed decision. He cares much. He goes into depth for everything he does. And LGR, he will not let his biases get him. For those who saying can we trust him? I don't think he'll let anything hinder his decision and making any decision he makes. His ability to make decisive decisions is on par. He will not care if he looks like the bad guy or the good guy. He doesn't care what people think. He just does what he knows is right. And I think even though he may not be as well prepared as previous D-Legs, I still think he's a fast learner. I've seen how he questions things in FAO too, tiny things. What I'm saying is I can always speak good things about him. He's a fast learner. He stays unbiased, and he's intricate on every little detail. I think as a D-Leg, he would be good, from his from his experience as vice chair in LJR, I think he'll be good in legislation. So I'll be voting in favor.
Spalding.
I am going to be speaking in favor as well for a few points. One, as people have mentioned, this is a learning curve. No one's going to jump into everything knowing everything. Two, I trust, as well as many of you trust, Pro Tempore Foster, and he would not have given this opportunity to Vice Chair McClellan if he didn't think that he was ready. I also want us to continue to go into these with an open mind. I understand that there are people that are wary of him because he's not entirely fiscally trained. The fiscal policies, that's a lot to know, and it's very specific, and it's very it's a lot, and it can be overwhelming, but it can be learned, especially with time. And so I hope when I say this next statement, no one gets upset about it, or people understand what I'm saying. I understand that you might not be for the candidate before us today, but there is a very good chance that you're going to be for this candidate for what he could be in the next couple of weeks when he learns more of what he needs to learn. So just go into this open-minded and keep in mind that there is always room for growth, and that's what we're here to encourage. So I will be voting in favor, and I encourage you all to do the same.
I'm going to go Yalamanchili and then Becerra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think Vice Chair McClellan is a very experienced candidate in terms of scrutinizing internal bills as seen with his work in LJR. I do, however, share Chair Borges's concerns in that fiscal legislation needs to be efficient, it needs to be correct, and it needs to be timely, because initiatives in student government that are not fiscal, that are internal bills, that are resolutions, yes, we can take drag the time on that, and I'm not saying that's good, but that's usually what happens. And I think fiscal legislation is more urgent than other legislation because RSOs have times, they have deadlines, they have things they need to get done by certain dates, and they need money by certain points. And so fiscal legislation has to be done very efficiently and very timely. I do share Chair Borges's concerns that Vice Chair McClellan is not as experienced as he should be on fiscal matters like the previous DLEGs. And I think that is a very important consideration to take into account. And I will be abstaining on this matter because it is a very hard decision to make.
Becerra?
Yeah, just to start off, I will be voting in favor. You know, you learn by experience in life. Maybe McClellan doesn't know it all. You got to start from somewhere. We all started from somewhere, especially when I came into Senate. Didn't know a single thing at all. But like I learned over time how to be in this position. And knowing McClellan, I like his form of like how he's very logical, knowledgeable, open, and respectful. I do believe he will do a good job. I'm confident in that. And I know that the Pro Tempore picked him for a reason, you know, and you got to get to also know him as a person, like by actually talking to the guy and getting to know him. I know he's very chill, very open. I believe he will get the job done. Highly recommend that you all vote him in favor.
We have less than 2 minutes, but I'm going to go Temple, Caldwell, Salcedo, Borges.
I'll try to make this very brief. I will be abstaining from this vote only because although I have seen Vice Chair McClellan in action and I very much applaud his work, I'm very much concerned with his relative lack of fiscal knowledge, to echo the sentiments of both Chair Borges and ILA Yalamanchili. Recently coming out of fiscal as former ORS chair, fiscal is in dire need of support from the outset, which is the whole line of argument and reasoning that the fiscal has, for the most part, taken up. Because Workday has been a nightmare, to say the least, and they need support from the Pro Temp's office. I understand that you will be more than willing and capable of building yourself up and learning about the process as we go, as we all are. But as it stands, I will have to abstain, despite the fact that I know you would do a good job should you be confirmed.
Caldwell.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to speak against on two accounts. First, I'd like to address the idea that we take this as purely something that is a learning opportunity. Unfortunately, when we're approving candidates, we're not just approving would they be a functional candidate in office, but is this the best choice for our pro tempore or our speaker to be making for that office? With the nature of fiscal being so important, and I speak as someone who very often struggles to understand fiscal and make my own way through the fiscal process, we need someone who can be as stalwart in their understanding and as helpful in the body as we have in previous.
Unfortunately, debate time has elapsed. With that, we are now entering voting procedure. With a vote count of 20 to 9 to 8, Senator McClellan is confirmed as Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs. Alrighty. Internal legislation. Notice of legislation on first reading, none. Notice of legislation on third reading, none. Notice of legislation on second reading, constitutional amendments, none. Bills, Internal Bill 5421. Just for clarity's sake, can I get a motion for speech, debate, questioning? Spalding?
I mean, for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute question, 15-minute debate.
We have a motion for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate. Are there any objections? Was that an objection, Jerry?
Yeah.
Do you withdraw?
Well, I'll withdraw if you want to make another motion. I really don't care.
Jerry Ray?
I was just gonna say because we have 40 minutes left, so 5-minute questioning. Okay. 5-minute speeches, 5-minute questioning, 5-minute debate.
There's a motion for 5-minute speeches, 5-minute questioning, 5-minute debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Internal Bill 5421, updates to Title IV, updates to the responsibilities of the Attorney General, Chair Borges, PPI'd in committee. Internal Bill 5422, updates to Title III, establishing Sergeant at Arms term limits. Chair Borges, I will also clarify, I am listed as a co-sponsor. Talk to Brody. I will be chairing. I will not be speaking my opinion on it. Chair Borges.
Hey guys, so the Sergeant at Arms kind of deals with like decorum within here for all you new senators. If like people are going crazy talking when like out of turn, they call decorum. They could also remove somebody if they're causing constant disturbances. And that is selected by the Senate President Pro Tempore in concurrence with the Speaker. I kind of talked to Speaker Hall and some other people about it before he became Speaker Hall when he was Sergeant at Arms. And basically, when this position is appointed, it's based off of the pro temp and the speaker's view of decorum and what they want as decorum at the time. And when you have a new speaker and you have a new pro temp, you might need a new sergeant at arms. So adding a term limit to be in congruence with the Senate President Pro Tempore, to me, makes sense. If it doesn't for you guys, that's fine. But I feel like after an entire year, if there's a ton of different leadership position changes, the decorum is going to be different. So I yield the questioning.
We're now in questioning. Senator Spalding.
So just one, kind of two. So you want this to whoever's elected Sergeant at Arms, their term is as long as the pro tempore is the pro tempore, right?
Correct, as that is the person who appoints them.
Okay, where you lost me is because he says it might be different, but essentially we all have the same requirements of what's required of the Sergeant at Arms. We all have, it's pretty much the same rules. So I don't understand how, if pro tempore like Foster was to leave and someone was elected, why someone was supposed to be elected for roughly following the same guidelines.
It doesn't have to be the same rules. They can decide what they want to be decorum in addition to what's already decorum. So if they want to make us all wear fancy suits, if you're not wearing fancy suits, you could be out of decorum technically. Their Sergeant at Arms could be briefed on that. If the previous Sergeant at Arms disagrees with them, they can't really do much about it unless, term limits or removal, but yeah.
Are there any other questions? Vice Chair Anderson?
Move to vote. Move to debate.
Doing a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Do you withdraw? Senator
I
Casas?
just saw Senator Trainer had his hand up. Wanted to make sure you got to ask a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my question was in regards to, so if Internal Bill 5422 is passed, would an election or I suppose an appointment of a sergeant at arms be effective after it's passed, or is that something that would happen after Senator Pro Tem Foster's term is up?
So once this is enacted, we don't have one currently because Speaker Hall was sergeant at arms, so it's vacant. So Pro Tem Foster could appoint one right now. But once it's enacted, that sergeant at arms, if Pro Tem Foster were to resign, that person would also resign as sergeant at arms.
I will also just say point of information. All this is doing is basically within statutes. In theory, a sergeant at arms, let's say Foster is no longer pro tempore. According to statutes, the sergeant at arms that he appoints would be able to continue on as the sergeant at arms. All this basically does is put the sergeant at arms, should Pro Tem Foster step away, that the sergeant at arms no longer is in their position either. That's what it's doing. It's not affecting the role itself. Senator Yalamachili.
Point of personal privilege. Are we in questioning or debate?
We're in questioning. I'll take a motion. Senator Moll.
Move to go to debate.
Through a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. All senators wishing to debate. Senator Taché.
Yeah, I was one of the two people who voted against it in committee. We were all kind of weary on it. If I may be speaking incorrectly, like no one was like super for it. No one was super against it. It honestly just feels kind of pointless to me. That's why I voted against it. Like to tie the sergeant at arms to that. I honestly just like visualized feeling kind of sad for the sergeant at arms that like someone resigned and now they just don't have their job when it feels like they're not really a close working relationship. Like, you know, in actual government, there are positions that are appointed by elected officials that are tied to them, and there are some that aren't. And it's like if they're separate entities like courtships or whatever, like then they get to stay. And so I feel like this is one of those where it's like not that tied, and I'd feel bad about someone losing their job just because the person who appointed them left or, you know, whatever happened to them.
Senator Wangen.
I'm going to be voting in favor of this bill. Anybody can call decorum. So there's that at first. And then in theory, the sergeant at arms does work pretty closely with the pro temp and speaker. It hasn't been that way for a little while, but in the past, they did work very closely as far as knowing exactly what decorum was supposed to be upheld in meetings and that sort of thing. And if it did come back to be that in the future, I wouldn't want a pro tempore sergeant at arms to just continue on. Yeah.
Senator Hurl.
I'm still undecided on how I'm going to vote for this. I do see the importance of them being connected, but I also see what Chair Taché was saying, where it kind of just, I don't know, seems weird per se, not redundant, but like, I understand what he was saying, where like they don't really interact all that much. I mean, obviously, I know they get decorum from speaker and pro temp, but that also would put into question if the speaker gets. Yeah, I just think it gets confusing. But I'm still undecided, and I would love to hear your guys' opinion on it. Maybe you can sway me.
I'll go Yalamachili first and then Taché.
I have similar concerns as Chair Taché. I was one of the members who voted against it in the LJR committee. I don't see how it's necessary. I don't see why we should have a point that all positions appointed by somebody, in this example, the pro temp, should serve a term in congruence with the pro temp, because that's not how things work in actual government. There's in the state level and on the federal level, there's appointees in the government that were appointed under previous administrations and still serve in the government to this day. And so I don't see why the sergeant of arms should be sacked if the pro tempore's term ends, or if the pro tempore resigns or removed. it already says that the sergeant at arms serves a term with the concurrence of the Senate president. So if the speaker's gone, the sergeant at arms is gone. I think that's enough of a regulation. I don't see how the position of the sergeant at arms should be tied to both the speaker and the pro temp. It's not a position of great power. It's not a position of great importance, although the sergeant of arms is tasked with keeping order. It's a harmless bill. I don't see how it's necessary, though, and I'm going to be voting against it. I encourage everyone else to do the same.
Senator Toshi.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think, an important point that we talked about, and I think Vihan may have just vaguely covered it, is that, like, the new leadership can just remove the sergeant at arms if they want. It's not like at the current moment they can't do that. So, like, for example, if I was made speaker, I really don't care about decorum. So I would appoint like Loki or something, because he's the only one who cares as little as I do about decorum. But like, I think most of you, if you were to become speaker, like would have no problem with whoever the last person picked. So it wouldn't end up being all that necessary.
I'm going to go with Senator Almoner.
I think I'm going to be voting in favor of this bill, essentially because in our previous experiences in the Senate, in this session of having a sergeant at arms with the pro temp resigning, it was under the understanding that the sergeant of arms then was no longer sergeant of arms. So like, if that's what was the status quo before this, I don't understand why we wouldn't just put that in statutes. So I'll be voting in favor.
I'm going to go Chair Borges.
If I could just clarify, Chair Lelman-Chile, what he said was incorrect. Concurrence does not mean they serve in concurrence. That just means the speaker agrees. So that was incorrect. In addition to that, I want you guys to note that Speaker Hall was former Sergeant at Arms, did sponsor, and we did talk about it. So keep that in mind, I guess.
Senator Wanjin.
So Chair Borges stole one of my notes, but the other one was like in statutes, there's nothing written out as far as I know about being able to remove the sergeant at arms. So I would disagree with the statement that new leadership could just remove them if they didn't like them.
Chair Gill.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote on Internal Bill 5422. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 22 to 10 to 6, Internal Bill 5422 passes on second reading. Internal Bill 5423, updates to Title VI, aligning declaration of candidacy periods. Senator Wanjin.
Sorry, guys, I forgot I had this today. So yeah, this is basically aligning the declaration of candidacy periods for Senate candidates as well as presidential tickets. It shortens the presidential timeline to 3 weeks instead of 5, and it lengthens Senate from 2 to 3 just to make it line up. This was an issue 2 years ago when presidential violation hearings were happening at the same time as Senate candidates were being declared candidates. So EC was super overwhelmed with trying to juggle both at the same time, and it was really messy. This was something that last session tried to do, but they didn't have this violation section that kind of redoes the numbers the same way as the finance limitations were in in Chair Borges' earlier bill, to make it just line up better with the amount of time that there actually is to campaign. I yield my time.
We have now entered a period of questioning. Are there any questions for Senator Wanjin? Seeing none, or is there a motion, Senator Spalding?
I move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Do you withdraw?
Yeah.
Senator Almoner.
I just have one question for Senator Wanjin. So essentially what this is doing is just making the presidential term, like when whoever wants to run for president, their ticket is like the same time as whenever senators want to like apply to be able to run, right?
Yeah, it aligns that declaration of candidacy period to be the exact same. It's just generally probably better. It also makes it, I didn't mention this, but it makes it so that advertising is all at the same time. So it can't be like they're advertising only Senate elections, like because they're 3 weeks later, as they have been in the past. So yeah.
Vice Chair McClellan, or well, D-Leg McClellan.
Could you elaborate on the changes to the violation sanction days? I don't know if you touched up on that, but I'd like to hear more, please.
Yeah, basically with that, the main reason it failed last session, as far as I understood, was because this wasn't changed. I shortened it as reasonably as possible, because 14 days would have meant that they lose 2/3 of their campaign time. And this, like, it's the limitations that it's always been, just changing the days to make it line up a little bit better with the amount of time that there actually is to campaign. If that answered your question, I'm not sure.
Are there any other questions for Senator Wanjin? Vice Chair Anderson?
Move to debate.
There's a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. Senator Almanar.
Yeah, I think this is a good bill. I'm sorry, about the election period. I personally, when I was running, was very confused. I thought I couldn't run at first because I saw the presidential campaign stuff out before Senate, and then I found out after the fact that we could have. I also agree with that, like the sanctionings, like limiting or like making them like smaller time periods so that people who want to campaign and maybe messed up still have a chance to campaign, and they're not punished too severely to the point that they're not able to campaign, because campaigning is really hard when you have a college population of 70,000 students. So I'll be voting in favor.
Chair Temple. Chair Temple.
May I retain?
You may.
So I'll just make this brief. I have full faith and confidence of former ENA Chair Wanjin and the Attorney General in their devising of this legislation. It is very sensible, and it would streamline the process quite significantly, both for senators and potential presidential candidates. So I encourage my fellow senators to vote in favor of this legislation. And with that, move to vote on Internal Bill 5423.
There's a motion to vote on Internal Bill 5423. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there.
Okay, it says 21, but I promise you're voting on 23. Just trust me.
With a vote count of 34-0 to 4, Internal Bill 5423 passes favorably on second reading. Resolutions none, proclamations none, special acts none. Is there a motion to move to advisors report, and then we will eventually return to Senate forum? I would like to allow our advisors to speak and then make sure everyone gets in their committees, and then we'll return to Senate forum. Alrighty, advisors report. Brady.
Hello, all. Welcome back. I don't really have any announcements for you other than just, excited to see you all. The chambers, Senate is so much more fun when the chamber is filled and I'm not having to, see you in little boxes on the screen. Some of you may not have taken in-person classes in like a while. So make sure that you're taking the time you need to potentially readjust to campus life. And even if you have been on campus, campus is probably going to be a lot busier than it was last year when you came back last fall. So give yourself the time you need to like get used to campus again. I'm pretty sure I said the exact same thing at the first meeting of last fall, but that's fine. I know it's like syllabus week and all that, but like focus on your classes, get good grades. That's really important. And on that note, as we do every semester, we'll be doing eligibility checks probably late next week. I like to give everybody a chance to kind of settle, classes and schedules and whatnot before we kind of dive into that. But if you know that you have any eligibility issues, feel free to let me know and we can kind of talk about what that looks like beforehand. Yeah, other than that, we will do some senator shout outs. It's been a while. All right. Who's got senator shout outs? Yeah, start over here.
I want to give a really big shout out to Chair Holmes and Vice Chair Castellan and anyone else who's working on the Black Business Expo, because I'm ashamed to say this, I had no idea until I saw on the student government Instagram, but I'm really glad that I did and I'll be attending. So shout out to them for putting together this amazing event.
Definitely. All right, Larkin.
I want to shout out ELA DeMarla and Isla Yeoman Chili. I'm so proud of them and I'm really happy to see everything that they do.
All right, Sarah.
Okay, so I got a couple. So shout out to Speaker Hall and Pro Tempore Foster for first Senate meeting. Y'all did amazing. Shout out to Chair Salcedo, breaking her back right now. It was Hispanic Heritage Month prepping. So, and also shout out to Chair Salerno. I know you didn't resign yet, but you will be missed.
All right, Ethan.
I promise I'll make this quick, Brody. I'm very sorry. But I want to shout out, of course, the new senators here. Welcome to your first in-person meeting in Senate. Good luck with everything. New ILA, ELA, and the deputies. Congratulations on your new appointments. Chair Borges and Senator Wanjin for doing literally a lot of legislative work. God, why am I tripping up? And then, of course, my former mentor, who has resigned in the past session, former Senator Galloway. She was the sole catalyst as to how I was able to improve my standing in Senate and be able to work as hard as I could in GAP. So if you're watching this, former Senator Galloway, we miss you, we love you, and good luck with football because I know it's going to be rough.
All right, JC.
I want to shout out our new GAP chair, Ethan Temple, everyone.
All right, Brianna.
I would like to shout out the new senators. Good luck. Have fun. It's a lot, but it's a memorable time. And then I would like to shout out all of the confirmations today, ILA, ELA, and DLEG. I'm really excited to see what you guys do. And I'm excited to see you guys grow and improve.
All right, very nice. Vihan.
So first, I would like to shout out Chair Salerno. You have done a lot of good work in student government. Student government has become a better place because of you, and so has UCF. We will miss you a lot, and thank you for being here in Senate and making this a better place for everyone. And my second shout out goes to DLEG McClellan. Congratulations on your confirmation and for your excellent renditions of the national anthem, as always. My third shout out is to Chair Borges, because in all of the confirmations, Chair Borges has been very concerned about tiny details and has grilled all the nominees, including me, very hard. And I think that's a good thing, that he shows a lot of concern in the quality of the candidates that are put to the Senate. And I think that's great. And so thank you for that vigilance, Chair Borges.
All right, AJ.
Shout out to Chair Salerno. She's an amazing member of the API caucus, and she will be missed. Shout out to DLEG McClellan, and then ILA Yalmanchili and ELA DeMarla for getting confirmed. Shout out to AG Moore for sitting through this, even though she doesn't really have to be here. And then shout out to the new GAP chair Temple. And I had one more, but I forgot, so sorry.
Whoever's in that last position is really mad at you right now. Sierra.
First, I want to start with McClellan. It was really brave for you to get up there again. This is the third time, and I'm really proud of you. I always looked up to you. You're so kind. I've never had a negative interaction with you. I don't know. I just admire you a lot. I just wanted to say that. And then Chair Salerno, you're about to make me cry, but if y'all didn't know, Chair Salerno is like the embodiment of like patience and grace. Like if you haven't had a conversation with her, you need to have it before she leaves, because I look up to her too. If you hadn't known, we had a conversation from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, and I learned a lot from her. And it was great. And then she had to wake up like 4 hours later to go to work. She's a strong woman. And last, my vice chair, just really supportive. Black Caucus's vice chair, not mine. Just really supportive and amazing, and love you a lot, Castleton.
All right, Borges.
So DeMarla, Yalamanchili, Salerno, and then CRT for impacting 253 students in July. And I will keep saying that. I'm so proud of CRT.
Very good. Wanjin?
I forgot I had to turn the mic on for a moment. All of the new confirmations, especially my mentee, I'm going to just keep bragging about her. She is the best mentee. I just said that to get a reaction. Also, it's true. But Chair Borges for running the fastest CRT meeting any of us will ever witness. And then, of course, our new GAP chair, even though he's leaving ORS, which is rude.
All right, Akila?
Oh, I have a few. So shout out to Spalding and AG Moore, because they have a class that ends at 9 p.m. and they still came here, which is really admirable. Shout out to, oh my God, it is Gap Chair Temple. I was gonna say ORS for a second, but Gap Chair Temple. I literally saw him meeting yesterday already. It's been 1 day since he's been elected and he's already meeting. Crazy. But yeah, shout out to Salerno for just generally being a nice person. I'm sad that I haven't been able to have as much interactions, but whenever I think of activism, I think of Salerno. So that is very good. I'm missing people. Shout out Hall and Foster for just being very kind, helpful, and getting the ground running this first week. It's a lot of stuff to look on the agenda, and I commend them all for it. And oh, I don't think anyone did this. Shout out to all scholarship committee. Woo!
All right. Domino, did you stop on?
Yes, I was just going to say shout out to all of you guys who voted. I appreciate it. First position, so highly grateful, and I will do you guys proud. And then shout out to my committee chairs. I appreciate the hybrid modality and the ability to still be a part of those committees. So thank you guys for that. And I look forward to continuing to learn here in Senate. And I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. You guys are doing great up there. So continue the great work and getting us out in a reasonable time frame. So thank you.
And on Dwayne's note, thank you all for voting via paper. Not ideal, but I appreciate you working with me on that one. Grace.
First, I want to shout out Senator Salerno. I'm going to be so sad that she's leaving. Like, when I think about SBA, I literally think about her. And I don't know, I feel like you set the bar so high. So whoever's next, yeah. Sorry. Next, I'm going to shout out Chair Holmes for yes, I'm helping her, but she has been spearheading Black Business Fund, sending all those emails. And I don't know about you guys, but I would not have known August was Black Business Month if it wasn't for Sierra. So shout out to her. And also shout out to all the people who got new leadership roles that usually have not usually had leadership roles, including Senator Domino. I'm really proud that you got your position. And Senator DeMarla, I know you already had a position, but I'm proud you got, ELA. Like, that's really great. So yeah, shout out to everyone else who got a leadership position.
Brody, I don't want to be the Scrooge here, but we are running a little low on time. So I don't know, at least for those of you who've already given shout outs to maybe hold
I think there's two people that haven't given one yet. So the rest of you that already gave one, too bad, so sad. Mo?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to President Brandon for canceling $10,000 in student debt. That was a real G move. Shout out our student helping king, President Brandon. Speaking of student helping kings who are helping to make sure that everyone can afford to get college, no matter what their financial background. Senator Domino, congratulations, Senator Taché, and a financial aid queen, Senator Robbins. Congratulations to all of you, and of course, one more shout out for Salerno. We're gonna miss you.
And Trainer?
I actually have 2 shout outs. First shout out goes to the College of Arts and Humanities. It's no longer a ghost town over here, which is really refreshing. And a really, really huge shout out to Senator Pro Temp Foster for rocking that blue suit with the new UCF logo pin. Woo!
All right. Thank you all. For those of you that did not get a chance to give your shout outs, feel free to add them as you already are. And while I think Senator shout outs are the most important part of this meeting, we will move on to my other advising team.
I don't like how I got turned into the villain there, but I'm gonna let Netta, you go.
Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Senate. I'm so happy to see everyone. Old faces, as in like I saw y'all like 2 times, and then new faces. Congratulations to everybody who was. Is it confirmed? Were they confirmed today? Yeah, confirmed. I'm still learning again. We should meet, but after my MCAT, which is in 2 weeks, and I promise to be a functioning human then. Until then, if you do really need to meet, I will be here. So yeah, just let me know if anybody needs anything. I'm always here for you.
Ella?
Sorry to be the boring one. I hate following senator shout outs because that's always so fun. And then I'm like, haha, send me your minutes. By the way, send me your minutes. Committee and caucus chairs and vice chairs, I'm looking at you. I think I've received like 4, and we definitely have more than 4 for the week. So I know you were sending them to Netta over the summer. I'm going to go ahead and take that over again. So please send those to me. The Senate minutes, please try to get your announcements in before Senate starts, preferably before 5. It makes my life easier. It makes Dylan's life easier. It's just better all around. That includes you, Brody. Senate emails. If you have any problems with your emails, the Senate emails are really woggly. Sometimes if you're signing in for the first time, you have to like do it in the office on the Wi-Fi, like on an office computer. If you're having problems, please email me. I will do my best to help you. The name tags in front of you, or name cards in front of you, you may have noticed they're not quite as spiffy as usual. That's because we're moving away from name cards that have names on them, which like kind of defeats the purpose, but whatever. And moving towards name cards that have just your seat on them. We have quite a bit of turnover in Senate, or at least we did last year, and it became very difficult to recreate the name tags like every single week for 20 new people. So unfortunately, this has been our solution, and that just means you're gonna have to memorize everyone's names. The kitchen in the student government office is disgusting. If you use that microwave and your soup explodes, please clean it like a adult person, because it's really gross right now, and I don't know who's gonna clean it. It's probably gonna end up having to be like me or Jax, and neither of us want to do it. Also, whoever keeps burning the popcorn, I have a personal vendetta against you. I don't know if they're in Senate, but it stinks up the whole office. Office etiquette. I already talked a bit with leadership about this, but if you're coming into student government with like friends who are in student government, that's totally fine. It's a space to hang out. It's a space to study. Just keep in mind that the office walls are thin, and sound quickly builds in that room. And some of us, cough, cough, me and Netta, don't have offices. So please be considerate of the people around you. Keep in mind that it is an office. And so there are people doing work. There are people having meetings. So if you are having friends in the office, just keep that in mind. And then this is directly from Jax. You can't be in the office after 5 unless you have a committee meeting, you have the Senate, right? The pro staff doesn't stay after 5, and they don't want to stay after 5. So please get out at 5. That includes paid employees and not paid employees.
It's a liability issue if you're there afterwards. So if you are used to working after 5 in the office, that is something that you may want to look into changing so Jax doesn't have to chase you out, because they will. And that's all I got.
I will say there's a certain athletics coordinator who really likes popcorn, so maybe go in that direction. Are there any questions for any of our advisors? Alrighty, miscellaneous business, resignations. ENA, I hereby resign Tribble, Trainer, and Holmes. CRT, I resign Becerra. LGR, I resign Martin. SB, I resign Uchoa, Martinez, and Teche. FAO, I resign Holmes. GAP, I resign Simcoe. And LGBTQ plus caucus, I resign Anderson. Appointments to GAP. I hereby appoint Senator Tribble, Senator Martin, Senator Cura, Senator Martinez, and Senator Holmes to the GAP committee. I hereby appoint Senator Trainer and Senator Simcoe to the SBA committee, and I hereby appoint Senator Moda to the APIA caucus. Just so everyone is made aware, we're still going through some of the changes. We'll have a more updated list after tonight. And then if there are still outstanding things, we'll work with your committee chairs next week to either have you excused or whatnot. And hopefully by when we meet again after in the third week, we'll be able to make sure that everyone is where they need to be. With that, I'm going to quickly let Senator Foster do his Foster fit check, since y'all apparently think I can't judge clothing. So I'm going to pass it over.
You know what? I'll give you an honorable mention just for the shirt. You're brave enough to wear it here to Senate. I'll give Speaker Hall honorable mention. It was a compliment. I'll give him the honorable mention. All right, number 3. I gotta go with my boy Loki. I like to wear my shirts like that too. I like the chain. I'm gonna go with Loki. Number 2, we got Mr. Tache. I like the overall. I like the bandana. I like the whole getup. And number 1, we got Larkin. I like the outfit. It's dope. Super dope.
Alrighty, with that, are there any senators wishing to speak in miscellaneous business? If not, I will take a motion. Senator Spalding.
I just want to take like 1 more minute of our time to speak. That's it. I want to say that it is the start of the semester, and so right now classwork is super light, but please take care of yourselves, your mental health, your physical health. Please make sure that you're eating and that you're not skipping or forgetting to eat, because I'm guilty of it. I haven't had anything since 12 noon. That's on me. I just want us to all be healthy and strong-minded, strong-bodied, and I care about you all. So please take care of yourselves.
Senator Becerra.
Question to you.
Sure.
Should we go back to speaker forum, or because we're about to run out of time anyway?
We got about 4 minutes, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to say no. If the 4 that have put their names down want to write out what they were gonna write about, they're more than happy to, but yeah, at this point, not enough time. I'm gonna, since I have multiple other hands, I'm gonna go Wanjan, then I'll go Yalmanchili.
Move to adjourn pending final roll call.
Do you
I withdraw.
Okay, Senator Yalmanchili.
Okay, so for miscellaneous business, this day in history, today is the birthday of Sean Connery, who's a great actor, who is very, very good in James Bond. And in 1944, Paris was liberated from the Germans by the Allied forces, and that is a also very good thing. Thank you.
Dope. Chair Temple.
First and foremost, I'll be doing those from here on out. Second of all, move to adjourn pending final roll call.
There has been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Are there any objections? Seeing none, I will just ask everyone to not pack up until Chair Urea is done reading out everyone.
All right, let's do this real quick. Trainer.
Here.
Tribble.
Here.
Mole.
Here.
Podier. Modha.
Present.
Cura.
Here.
Nimbargi.
Here.
Martinez. McClellan.
Present.
Millington. Temple.
Present.
Capozzi. Caldwell.
Here.
Robbins.
Here.
Spalding.
Here.
Castillo.
Here.
Parmar. Simcoe.
Here.
Wanjin.
Here.
Domino.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
Beaumont. Becerra.
Present.
Gell.
Present.
Yalamanchili.
Present.
Samuel. Heightskill.
Present.
DeMarla.
Here.
Patel.
Here.
Uchoa.
Here.
Harrell.
Present.
Borges.
Here.
Almanar.
Present.
Anderson.
Present.
Castellan.
Present.
Sabula.
Present.
Hall.
Here.
Holmes.
Present.
Costas. Martin. Salerno.
Here.
Salcedo.
Here.
Tache.
Here.
Brenner.
Here.
40 out of 45 quorums verified.
I adjourn this meeting at 11:58 p.m.